Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to pass out a couple things. This class, some of you might be going, oh, geez, what else can we possibly learn about health and fitness? I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys that you need to work out, because guess what? You guys all know that, right? Is there anybody in here that disagrees with that in the job field that you've chosen? Okay, so you have to have some level of fitness. We're not saying you have to be an Olympic athlete or anything like that, but you do have to maintain some level of fitness. Why? You need to be able to fight for yourself?
They work out every day.
They work out every day. There's like how many more of them compared to you? Right? What's that?
It looks more professional.
Thank you. It looks more professional. I was just over at Ada County this morning doing an instructor assessment on somebody that was becoming a new instructor, and he was showing a video. It was a baton class that they were teaching, and they were showing a video of the police in a riot situation at Berkeley in Northern California some years ago. And there's a guy standing there. Everybody's in riot gear, and here's like the lieutenant that's standing there, you know, with the guy is huge standing there, and we're just like, wow. Looks very unprofessional. Okay, so what I'm passing out to you, this is just something that I have put together, and what this is recipes. These are healthy recipes. Now, if there's something in here that you guys don't like a specific ingredient that you're allergic to or you don't like or something like that, omit it. It's pretty simple. So these are for you guys to keep. There's all different types of stuff, from protein shakes to burgers to snacks to everything. Most of the stuff that we're going to talk about today is going to be nutrition based. Did you guys know that you can work out and work out and work out and work out, and yeah, it's going to do you some good, but if you eat crappy food, you're not going to get the biggest bang for your buck. But you could probably stop working out or work out a whole lot lighter, and you would be, and eat healthier, and you would be better off. You would feel better, you'd get more restful sleep, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about nutrition. I'll share some stories with you about some stuff. This class is very much interactive. So if you guys have something to add or a question, please raise your hand and let's talk about it. Okay? Good? Okay. All righty. Okay, so first thing we're going to do we have somebody that's keeping an eye on the objectives? Or just all of you? Just all of you. Okay. So here's the deal. If there's an objective that we do not cover, let me know. Okay? We should cover it because I wrote them. So, and I'm teaching the class, so we should be good there. Okay? But if not, if you miss one or I miss one, then let me know. Okay? All right. So why do you guys think that we make you go through a class like this? Anybody?
Not everybody knows that health and fitness is important.
Okay, not everybody knows that health and fitness is important. We're not always officers. I mean, we are, because that's what we've chosen to do in our career, correct? Okay, so they talk about you're not just an officer when you're wearing the uniform. You know, you're an officer at home. When you go to the grocery store, you're still an officer. You're still a deputy sheriff, right? Okay, but here's the deal. You're not on duty all the time. So we don't want you to just take this as, you know what, I'm just going to work out because I'm an officer. We want you guys to live long, prosperous, healthy lives. How many of you have kids? How many of you have dogs? Dogs and kids. Okay? So you guys want to go out and you want to spend time with your dogs or your kids or your significant other, and you don't want to feel icky while you're doing it, right? So you're not always on duty. And we're not teaching you this class. I'm not here to teach this class because you're deputy sheriffs. I'm here to teach you this class because I care about your well-being and I care about you having a healthy, prosperous, disease-free life. Okay? So keep that in mind when we're talking about this stuff. Okay, this is something that's very important. Some of you that are a lot younger probably don't think maybe this is, you're going to be great for the rest of your life. But let me tell you, once you get between about 30 and 35, you wake up one day and you're like, whoa, what happened? The weight's harder to come off. That's just the way it is. It's part of getting older. Okay? All right. What did you guys have for lunch? Vegetables and steak and potatoes. Cake. Cake. All right. So, you guys have a green sticky in front of you that I put on everybody's desk. So, it still doesn't work. Oh, maybe it does. Okay. So, here's a question for you. Why do you believe that public safety workers are unfit, overweight, and generally unhealthy? This is all public safety workers. Okay? No, don't, wait. 2 reasons. Write it on your sticky note. You don't have to put your name on it. And then once you get it written, 2 things written, I want you to come over here and I want you to stick it right here on the whiteboard. Okay. Is that everybody? All right. Okay. Here's the answer to the question. Don't feel they need to. People become complacent. Stress and depression. No mental strength, laziness. Sitting around waiting for action. Sugary snacks while waiting. I like how you tied that together. Fast food is convenient. Eat on the go. Easy access to fast food and sedentary jobs. Constantly on the go, so people eat fast and easy food, which is mostly not healthy. Aren't very physical on a normal basis, so they don't get enough exercise, i.e. driving all day. Okay? Stress and long hours. Stress eaters and comfort. Stress and uneducated. Shift work and stress. Work hours and stress. Convenience and price of food. Interesting. Tired and stress. Stress. You guys are a stressed out group. Stress and long days. They feel they did enough for the day, or they feel they don't need to. Stress and uneducated about health and fitness. Weird hours and convenience. Eat high-fat diets and do not exercise. Lack of education, false premise. Food pyramid was created by lobbyists. Somebody knows what they're talking about. Hours worked and stress. Oh, I was waiting for this one. Donuts and lazy. Bad or poor food choices, stress eating. Poor work hours, access to fast food. Stress and feel like they don't have enough time and not motivated. Stress, very demanding day by day, too tired when they get home. Stress, sometimes lack of activity in the workplace. They don't work in an office or don't care, and don't care, stress. Fast food and poor work ethics. Convenience of fast food and stress. That is by far the most times I've ever said stress in my entire life. Not working out. Always eating fast food. Stress, busy schedules, no time to prepare meals, so they eat out. Stress. Sleep problems because of shifts worked. Okay. And content, in parentheses, lazy, and stress. Okay, so with the exception of a couple that were new, like the price of food, let me ask you guys a question. Do you have control over these items? With the exception of a couple. Is there anything other than the price of food that you don't have control over that I read off?
About stress.
Okay. Do you have control over your stress?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You absolutely do.
Shift work 12 hours.
Your shift work? You're right. If you want to keep your job, you don't really have control over it. But we're going to go over a few things to maybe teach you how to help with it. Okay? Now, ultimately, in the big scheme of things, absolutely you have control over it because you chose the job. You know, if it meant that much to you and you hated working those shifts that much, your option would be what? Probably to find a different line of work, which we probably don't want to do. Don't hate it that much, right? So yes, I would agree with you. Your hours worked, and obviously the price of food, we don't have control over that. I go to the grocery store like every weekend, and I was there this past weekend, and it seems like, you know, I come out with 3 bags of groceries and it's $130. And I don't buy a lot of stuff that other people buy, you know. So yeah, prices are going up, and it's only going to get worse. So, but good job writing this stuff down. You guys are interesting, and you think everybody in law enforcement is stressed out. So, which are probably not too far off. Probably not too far off. All right. Okay, so this is kind of broke down. This class is kind of broke down into about 4 different sections. So the biggest one being the nutrition factor, and then we're going to go over stress management. So we're going to teach you a little bit about how to manage your stress and really what stress is. Physical fitness, we're just going to go over very briefly some physical fitness aspects, because we all know that we need to work out, so we're not here to tell you you need to do this. We're here to try to find something that works for you, whatever that may be, okay? And I don't think it was the batteries. Flexibility, very important. And from what I saw yesterday with you guys stretching out, some of you are not very flexible. Is that a safe assumption? Okay. God, flexibility you don't even have to pay for. You know? You do. You have to work at it. Okay, all of your course objectives are listed in your objective book. They're also listed up here. I know you guys can read, so I'm not going to read them to you. Is that all right? Okay. All right, I don't like this. So we're just going to... Okay. Would you guys agree with this statement? When you choose a career in law enforcement, you lose the right to be unhealthy. You wouldn't agree with it?
Yes.
You would agree with it? Who wouldn't agree with it? Is there somebody that wouldn't agree?
I don't.
You don't agree?
That you lose the right to be unhealthy?
Yeah. Explain.
Well, it's only up to you whether you're healthy or not.
Yeah, but
It's in your hands.
You're right. You're right, but what we're trying to say here is just like he's saying, you have a bigger job now than just worrying about yourself. You have a partner. You have several partners. right? You have all the people on your shift in your jail. For some of you, that may be one person. You know, for some of you, it may be 15 people. How many people are running on your teams at Canyon?
12, 13.
12, 13, 15, something like that.
It's on our staffing.
Yeah, right now, probably about 12, right? Yeah. Used to be about 18. Okay. Bonner, how many do you guys run on a shift?
4 to 6.
4 to 6. Okay. So everybody's a little bit different. Shoshone, you should be running what, 2, right?
1, 2.
1 to 2. You should be running 2.
Sure, that's why we're at.
That's why you're here. We won't talk about that. Okay. Okay. So because you are responsible for the safety and welfare of others, that's why it's really important that you need to have some sort of health. You need to maintain some kind of health, right? Now, whether you guys want to buy into this or not, your job is not only to protect the officers. You're protecting inmates. That is your job, is to protect the safety and welfare of the inmates and each other. Okay? You owe it to your family, your agency, the public that you've sworn to protect, and yourself to come to work every day morally, ethically fit, healthy, right? How many of you have ever had to work like a 12-hour shift and then go to training, like right after? Yeah, probably all of you. If you haven't, it will come. The day will come when you have to do that. Where you, and what happens when you're tired?
Don't learn anything.
You don't really learn anything. You're just kind of going through the motions. You're irritable. You don't care, right? Is there anybody that's just been like, yeah, this is great, and you remember everything? No. You can never be at your best if you're not healthy and maintain some level of physical fitness. Okay? Being healthy and being fit takes commitment and discipline. You see these people on a lot of these bodybuilding commercials or any type of sports, anything that you watch, and they're just like, they're ripped. Do you think that they got that way from not being disciplined? You see someone like that, the person is very disciplined, and they're more disciplined probably with what they put in their pie hole than their workout regimen, would be my guess. Okay? So just like Miss Ritchie said, you said it the best. No one else is responsible for your level of fitness and your level of health but you. That's not something, you can't buy it. You have to earn it. And you're the only one that's responsible for it. You can't blame anybody else for it or lack thereof. Right? Good? All right. We could do push-ups if you want. No? You want to do push-ups?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, cool, a taker. What's up?
So you're talking about right now the fact that we need to be physically fit and whatnot. So just an observation in the field, there's other lines of enforcement where you are actually required and tested to stay that way. Why is it that we teach that here, but our whole thing doesn't follow that? Because once we get out of here, the real reality is, they may never have to do a PT test and they may never qualify again. They do the weapons and whatnot, but I don't ever have to run again. There's no incentive to. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm just thinking, why don't they have that set up like they do in other service?
You know what? You're preaching to the choir, and I wish that they did. Mr. Hollins.
County, we have to meet every quarter, and we have a incentive, an extra $600 a year if we stay qualified.
Everybody's like, what? Miss Ritchie, did you have something to add?
also wanting to climb the ladder in your job, your career, that also involves the fact that you probably do need to sit the PRT or PT test each ladder you climb. So if you're a mere jail deputy, it's an incentive if you have some goals to stay fit and healthy and physically fit.
Yes.
To be able to achieve those.
So here's the thing, you guys, and you guys bring up a very, very good, interesting, and very well litigated point. When you come here, we have you taking the PT test to come in here, right, is a entrance standard. Basically, you got to test in and you got to test out, okay? It's an academy entrance standard. We want you to be here with everything that you guys are going to go through in the next 6 weeks. This academy, people, is not for the faint of heart, okay? Now, they've taken away all the night classes because we've added the 6th week, right? But there were times before where you're up for, you're on your feet for 16 hours a day, and you're moving, and you're already tired, okay? So it's very important that you have some level of fitness, and that's what that PT test is for. Okay, to make sure that we're not going to kill you when you come in here. Okay, and believe me, I've seen some people that have come in here that I thought we were going to kill them. I'm not kidding. Okay, over the 8.5 years that I ran detention, some of the people that came in here, we were running one time and there was a guy that he fell out of the run and came back, and no one knew anything. We thought he was cheating and trying to get out of it, and I had him in my office about to rip him a new one, and he was like, I have high blood pressure. And I was like, sit down, and we couldn't even make him move. His blood pressure was so high when he was seated in my office. So we almost killed him out there running. Okay? So it's an entrance standard in that respect. Now, you bring up a good point that you're right. You don't have to qualify with a firearm either. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, right? But your agency is going to make you do that. Why? Because it's a very high liability area. If you get in a shootout with somebody and you shoot some bystander and they find out that you haven't been through a firearms qual since you went to the academy, oh boy, they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to rename Valley County after that person, okay? So do you guys think being unfit is a liability? I wholeheartedly do. But for some reason, our court system in the United States does not see it that way. And they see that regardless of shape or size of an officer, that they can still do the job. I don't agree with that, people. I don't agree with it. Now, to answer your question even more in depth, several departments in here have gone to where they administer a PT test. Elmore, don't you guys do that?
Just the entry one.
Just the entry. I thought you guys were, you do an annual? Okay. Morales, you know what? Morales didn't get the memo. And Kasia does. Is there anyone in here from Fremont? No, Fremont does as well. Benoit does. Jefferson does. Do you guys get days off with pay? Do you get incentive, or they just say, no, you're doing it, and you got to pass it?
Oh, sorry. I mean, to get your job, you have to pass.
No. Everybody has to do that because you have to come to post. Do you have a quarterly or annual test that you guys have to take for PT? Yes, no? Twin, do you guys? No? Canyon doesn't yet? You kind of toyed with it a little bit in your last administration.
I don't understand personally why Canyon doesn't.
I don't know why anybody doesn't.
Well, yeah.
Sir?
Gooding's doing the 1.5 miles every year now
They're doing 1.5 miles every year?
for an extra paid 2 days off.
Okay. And you got it, is it the post standard?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another little, go ahead, Mr. Hollins, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I taught the academy in Maryland for the Division of Corrections for 2 years. And in the Division of Corrections, there is absolutely no physical standard. You don't have to pass any kind of PT to enter, to get the job there, nothing. So, I mean, you think, oh, you know, this is just a small mile and a half, 21 push-ups, you know. Imagine if your partner weighed 450 pounds, 500 pounds. Now, would you guys feel safe for him to back you up?
I just stand in a row.
That's what I had to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, there is no physical requirements. And it's shocking that there isn't, especially in the you know, the Supermax facility that we were working in. But that's the nature of the beast. You know, here, yeah, I'm glad that there is some kind of physical requirement.
Well, and here what you guys are going to run into is you have that physical requirement here at post, but when you get back to your agency, and this is what Mr. Anderson was saying, when you get back to your agency, he could sit around and eat Krispy Kremes and nobody would ever tell him, hey, you gotta go and you gotta be able to run and you gotta be able to do this. Okay, that's what he's saying. And so post we can't police everybody. It's hard enough right now with issuing certifications and making sure you all meet all the requirements to be a certified peace officer in the state of Idaho. So we don't manage your firearms qualifications unless you're an instructor. Your agency does that. Okay? So we're not gonna manage a PT qualification either, or any other type of thing that your department has. So that's totally up to your department. Now, we often compare firearms with a lot of things because it's such a high liability area. Your agencies don't have to have you qualify. I said that just a minute ago. They don't have to, but you know what's going to happen. You know, if they don't. But yet they're still willing to not have you go through the PT stuff. So someday it's probably going to come back to bite somebody. You know, it might not be in our lifetime, but you know, it's going to happen. Our PT standards that we have right now, all of the PT standards that you guys were faced with yesterday, we are at some of the lowest standards in the nation. And we're hiring very unfit people. That's the reality of it, compared to everybody else in the Northwest. So I challenge you guys, while you're here, do your very best. Give 100% every day. You have to be there, right? You got to be there, so you might as well get something out of it. So give it 100% every day that you're here. You know, it's very rare that you get the opportunity to work with, you know, 6 people that are fitness specialists. Okay, so utilize that and do something with it. Okay? Has anybody given you the push-up challenge yet? All right, here it is. You guys can do push-ups on break. Feel free. Okay? If you want to improve on your push-ups, you can double your push-ups by the time you leave here. Those of you that are up in this, where you're at about 50 to 60, you're not going to improve as much as the people that are down in the 20s and 30s. Okay? But if you want to improve on your push-ups, do them on break. Just do 10. If you see the training specialists, ask them to do push-ups with you. I guarantee you they will not turn you down. And do them different every time you do them. Do a different hand position, a staggered, a wide. Do diamonds, do one-arm push-ups, whatever. Okay? Simmons, you'll be doing one-arm push-ups by the time you leave here, I promise you. I promise you. Okay? So keep that, and you guys are like, huh, I'm going to get back at Tangen. So seriously, if you see him in the hallway, do them.
Line up.
Okay? I've had many a class challenge me to push-ups in the hallway, and I will do them with you. If I see you down there, I don't care where I'm at. If you see me coming out of the restroom and be like, Nichols, I will do push-ups with you. Any day, any time. Okay? Worthington, what do you got?
I was just wondering, what's the
main reasoning, or I guess the hurdle on not having a PT program in law enforcement?
Litigation. Yeah.
Officers sue because they say,
Why do I have to do that? I can do my job just fine. I can sit behind a computer and watch these inmates just fine. What does that have to do with? And you know what? They will win. It's the biggest litigated thing in law enforcement. It's not shootings.
Because obesity in our society is accepted as a disease instead of a choice.
Yes.
So therefore, litigation is always going to be considered a disease because the federal government has labeled this.
You guys hear all that? Hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's up to us. You cannot fix everybody else. You just worry about your little world. Okay? And you're good to go. That was very well said. Very well said. Okay. So being healthy can decrease disabilities. Some of the major reasons for disability and early retirement in public safety include cardiovascular disease, back and other orthopedic problems, and psychological disorders. Here's another question for you. Do you think that a healthy lifestyle can lower the risk of all of these things? Okay, does anyone disagree? What do we mean by psychological disorders? Mostly depression is what we're talking about. Okay, when you exercise and it releases endorphins in your brain that make you feel good about yourself. You know, how many times have you guys ever gotten up, and if you haven't, you will, maybe tomorrow morning, you'll wake up and be like, oh, I do not want to go to PT, and you'll be like, this sucks the whole time. You're walking in, and you go in there, and they're going to stick it to you, and then you're going to be like, I feel pretty good when you're done, right? But then you come to class and you sit in your chair for a couple hours and you're like, oh, I feel awful because you're sitting there. Probably like you do right now, only worse. Only it'll be worse tomorrow. And then on Thursday, it'll be even worse. That's why you got to get up and do push-ups. I'm telling you. Okay? All right. So the 6 major leading lifestyle-related causes of death and disability. Sedentary living. That is just sitting on your duff doing nothing. Okay? You've seen all the shows, right? The Biggest Loser, and what's the new one? It's on ABC. My Extreme Makeover or something like that. Where there's one guy and he trains like one person. Extreme Makeover. Pretty good show. You know, poor nutrition, tobacco use. We know smoking's bad for us. We're not going to sit here, and I've seen all you guys out there in the smoke shack. I'm not judging. You guys know it's bad for you. Obesity, stress, there it is again, and substance abuse. We're talking about substance abuse in law enforcement. We're talking mainly about alcohol. Any more, though, could be prescription drugs. That's a big one. Sir?
I've got a question about tobacco use.
Okay.
A lot of the guys I used to work with on the oil field would lift, and they always said putting a dip or a hammer, or whatever you want to call it in, would improve your blood flow to your muscles. Is that true?
Tobacco is a stimulant. So yes, there are other things that can improve that other than tobacco, because tobacco has a lot of bad stuff in it too, especially when you're smoking it. But tobacco is a stimulant. It's like methamphetamine or any other kind of amphetamine. It does improve the blood flow, but probably not the best way to combine those two. Other questions? All right, moving right along. Okay, 3 goals of a healthy diet. Maximize performance. We want to maximize your body's function. Prevent disease. And control weight. So let's talk about this for a second. How many of you have gas-powered vehicles? Okay. Anybody have diesel? Diesel vehicle? Okay, a couple of you. So what would happen in those gas-powered vehicles if you put diesel in the tank? Seize it up, right? And vice versa. You diesel people. It'll run just a little bit for a while, and then it's going to crap out on you, right? You're going to have a big problem, right? So think of that kind of like eating well. Some of the stuff that we put in our bodies causes us some ailments that we don't even know are caused from what we're eating. And we're going to talk more about this, all right? But let's say migraine headaches. Now, obviously, if you have had a neck injury or some sort of injury to your head, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you're going along in your life, and all of a sudden, at the age of 21 years old, you start developing chronic migraine headaches. Well, where the hell did they come from? You haven't had an injury, you haven't had a bump on the head, nothing like that. Okay, it could. You're absolutely right. It's probably something that you're putting in your pie hole, right? Something you're putting in your mouth. Okay, but we think to ourselves, well, why would they're selling this in stores for us to consume? Why would they sell us something that's bad for us? Right, because it's cheap, right? So if you put the right type of fuel, like we do in your vehicle, you put the right type of fuel in your body, you're going to have more energy, you're going to be able to control your weight, reduce your risk of serious conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Okay? Proper nutrition is the key ingredient to a life free of all these things. Now, we know that genetics plays a portion in here. We had recently a Nampa police officer that was a triathlete. He was a member of the SWAT team, and he woke up one day and didn't feel so well and told his wife he was going to just sleep in a little bit longer, and she went back and he wasn't breathing, and he ultimately passed away. He had some sort of heart condition that nobody ever would have known that he had. And it just finally gave out on him. Right? That stuff is going to happen. But here's the thing. Do you think had he not been a triathlete and not been a SWAT team member and exercised that he would have even lived that long? Probably not. Probably not. Okay, I know, I think it was last summer, there was a pediatric doctor that was doing a triathlon in Emmett. And he was in the middle of the swim, which is the first event, and had a cardiac event and died. Someone doing a triathlon. So, and he ended up having some sort of dysfunction with his heart, which ultimately led to his death. But he could have easily died if he was not that healthy and fit, walking up a flight of stairs or getting out of his car and walking to the front door of the grocery store. So, does that make sense? Okay? All right. All right, so we're going to talk about, processed food. We know that's bad for us, right? Pretty much everything is processed, right? Everything you buy in the grocery store is processed. But for our purposes, what we're talking about for processed is anything you buy in a box or a can. Or a bag. Thank you. So think about your grocery store where you guys grocery shop, right? Think about it. Got it pictured in your head, right? Where is everything that's not processed at in the grocery store? On the outside, right? Your produce is usually on the outer realm. Your dairy, your eggs, your meats. I know even the bakery sometimes, and that doesn't really count. Okay? So most people, you just need to have this is going to sound really weird. You need to have a relationship with food. Okay? And not one that's just like, okay, just put anything. Pay attention to what goes in there. Okay? Your body really tries to find something nutritious in the food environment that our traditional American diet has placed in front of us. And that makes it very difficult to do because of all the stuff that's in our food. So here's a question for you. What is the difference between diet and nutrition? Somebody tell me. Now, I'm not talking about a diet. We're not talking about South Beach or Atkins or anything like that. So what is the definition of diet? Simmons?
I'm going to take a shot at it.
Okay.
A diet would be something that you feel like, okay, so I need to lose some weight. I'm going to restrict myself or eat this amount. And then once I lose the weight, I can get off of it.
Okay, so not a diet. That would be a diet. But when we just talk about the word diet in general, Mr. Ray.
I think the difference is the type of food that you intake.
Okay. You guys are tap dancing around it. Worthington?
John, diet is just what you eat in general. That's your diet.
Okay.
And then nutrition is actually what you're getting out of the food that you eat.
Worthington's been through my class before. Look at him. You thought you didn't know I was going to dime you out, huh? Okay, so he's all red now. Okay, so he's absolutely right. So think about it. Your diet. So my diet consists mainly of about, I would say, 85% vegetables for me. That's mainly, my diet is meat and vegetables. Okay? Now, and it's not fast food. I don't eat fast food. I don't drink soda. I don't eat dairy. Okay? So you're like, wow, what do you eat? Huh? So some of you, your diet might consist of fast food, because that's where you go, or gas station food. God help us. That's even worse than fast food. Okay? So you understand the difference between what does your diet consist of? Would it make more sense if I say it that way other than just what is a diet? Because you're right, a diet is something you want to lose weight, all that kind of stuff. But your overall diet is just what, on a normal basis, that you routinely eat. Okay? Your diet may be very high in sugar. I bet almost everybody in here is very high in sugar, and you probably don't realize it. Okay? Okay, and nutrition is what we get out of what we're eating, the nutritional value of what we get that we're putting in our mouth. So you can eat 100 calories of Oreos, or you can eat 100 calories of apples. And which one are you going to get more out of? Probably the apples, because apples have fiber and vitamins and minerals, and the Oreos might taste better. I know. But they have sugar and a bunch of crap that you can't even read off the package. You can't even pronounce it. Okay? All right. So, when we talk about maximizing performance, your body really has the potential to run like a fine-tuned machine. Now, I know that we cannot eat like an Olympic athlete because all their food is cooked for them. Okay? But really, these people, when they're at their peak performance, they're not eating Top Ramen noodles and McDonald's. All right? I know they're in the commercials. They're not eating Subway either. Okay? But you have to eat real food. What do we mean by real food? Stuff that's not processed. Right? Absolutely. You got to eat whole, real food to get the most nutrients into your body. Sir?
This is kind of a side note.
Okay, side note.
The food that they cook here for us.
That's a big side note, I know.
So,
We're working on it. It's probably not going to happen in the next 6 weeks. But here's the thing. You do have choices over there. And you have options. And you guys are not closed campus. You're not like patrol. You're closed campus at lunch. You got to eat lunch there and breakfast. But for dinner, you don't got to eat there. Now, granted, that's free. But
Get the $600 bonus, so.
Okay. But here's the thing. I've had a number of students from the local agencies, Canyon, Ada, the people that have to commute back and forth, bring stuff to eat. I've had people in the patrol academy that have food allergies and have to bring all their own food for a week at a time. Okay? So it can be done. Now, it might put you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you can do that. You can bring snacks. You can eat in class. Okay, did Sarver tell you that?
Yeah, as long as they weren't crunchy.
Corn nuts are a bad idea. Yeah, no corn nuts.
No sun chips.
Or sun chips, yeah.
It was quiet.
As long as, ish.
I'm not sacrificing my stomach for
No, if you guys want to bring snacks, go get some carrots, some baby carrots, and like Winco. If you've never been to Winco, they have a huge bulk food section. So they have like tons of like nuts and healthy stuff over there. That doesn't mean go get the chocolate-covered cinnamon bears. Okay? Okay, let's talk about preventing disease. Now think back for me to when your parents or maybe even your grandparents or great-grandparents were growing up. Many of them probably had a garden. They raised cows, pigs, chickens that they used for their meals. Now we have fat-free and sugar-free everything. Everything. What does that mean? It means processed. So let me ask you a question. You take the sugar out of something, because it says right on it, sugar-free, but it's still sweet. It's chemicals, people. That's all it is. Your body has no idea what to do with it. It gets in there and it goes, whoa, this is weird. And so it stores it as what? Fat.
So that applies to sugar-free and
Sugar-free everything.
sugar-free can spike your insulin as well.
Yes, it can. And here's the other thing, fat-free. I'm going to give you a great example. The caramel dipping stuff that you dip apples in, right? They have a fat-free and they have a sugar-free one, or a fat-free and a regular one, okay? So if you go and you look at the sugar content on the fat one, it's higher than on the sugar-free one. They take the fat out and put sugar in. The only thing they don't do that in is dairy.
So what's the difference? Because then you have low-fat, fat-free. You have all three of those. Are they all, or is it fat-free and low-fat same?
If you're talking about dairy, this doesn't apply to. So if that's what you're referring to, you're referring to dairy? Okay. So the difference between whole milk, 2%, 1%, and fat-free, it's got all the same nutrients in it. They just take out the fat, the cream that's on the top. That's why if you're a whole milk drinker and then you try to go to like skim or fat-free milk, it's like water. It's disgusting. Milk is just disgusting anyway, but that's my own opinion. But that's the difference between that. Usually with other foods, you're going to have a sugar-free or you're going to have a fat-free.
Okay, so since you're on the meal spin, I'm going to snowball this whole conversation with that. So what about like that almond and soap milk stuff that is next to the dairy stuff? Is that good or is that bad?
Stay away from soy. Soy can mess with your hormones really super bad. So if you're drinking soy milk, I would probably try to steer away from it. The coconut milk and the almond milk has more calcium in it than dairy milk and no carbohydrates.
So is that good or bad?
It's good. That's a good thing.
How does the soy mess with your hormones?
It has a reaction with your hormones. And yes, it is not good for you. Soy is not good for you.
So what if you have
Okay, have you tried almond milk or coconut milk?
It's not me, it's my nephew.
Okay.
He can't have milk or eggs, so he's always
Okay.
had soy milk.
Almond milk, rice milk. There's a bunch of different ones out there.
They're all better than soy.
Yes. Soy and dairy I would steer away from. So there's just not a whole lot of... Dairy really messes with your intestines. Really bad. Healy.
On the soy, though, if you get something that's fermented soy, fermented like tofu or something, more of the Japanese style, that is safe to eat.
Safer. But I wouldn't say safe, but safer. Yeah, the fermented stuff is a little bit better than the other stuff.
They did do a study where the calcium in milk actually binds to the fat in your body. The food that you eat with it, is that not? Because you don't eat dairy at all.
Sometimes I have like a pizza. Every once in a while.
Well,
but
do you take vitamin supplements for calcium?
Nope. You can get all the. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about calcium. Now listen, calcium comes from the ground, right? It's in the soil, right? So if it's in the soil, the cow eats the grass or the weed or whatever, and then goes into the cow, and then you're drinking the milk that's now produced from the cow. So that cow has retained some of that calcium. There's not that much calcium in milk. If you look at the nutrients on there, there's not that much calcium. They have led us to believe there is, and you gotta have it. You have brittle bones and all. No, you can eat spinach. Spinach and kale have a ton of calcium in them. Almonds. There's tons of things. Yes, they do.
Here, why don't you
So-
tell them why you don't drink milk? I mean, the specialty milk that you get off the store shelves today. I'm a huge milk drinker, but honestly, what milk mostly is today is when they force it out of the cows can't produce that much milk, so the body produces pus, which is milk. That's what milk mostly is.
Now that is just gross.
That's what we drink. That's why it's so sweet.
Seriously, I could not. I have drank milk my whole life up until about 4 years ago, and I just thought, and I'm one of those people, I think like really weird things, like why am I drinking this? And why? We're the only people. We are the only mammal after we are weaned that drinks milk. It's because we have pumps, but were we supposed to? I don't know. The animal kingdoms live for a long time, and they don't have cancer and all that stuff. And I don't know.
We also walk on our 9 legs too.
You're right. You're right. So I mean, we can debate this, and I'm not trying to steer anybody to not drinking milk. I just want you guys to think about this. And if you are like, you know what, she's freaking crazy, I'm drinking milk, then that's fine. It's all good. But the point being is that they do a lot of stuff to milk that's not healthy for our bodies. Now, if you have a cow and you go out there and you drink it straight out the cow, good on you. That's the best milk you can get. Right, or the raw milk. Great. But you're buying the stuff off the shelf, there's all kinds of stuff that they put in it. So, Mr. Wright, did you have something?
I was going to say, do you eat the cow?
I do eat the cow. Love the cow.
Everybody eats margarine if they know what margarine is made out of.
Oh yeah, margarine is another thing, you guys. It is.
A fly won't eat it.
A fly won't eat it. Worthington.
After I had your last nutrition class, I got kind of into it. Started watching documentaries on Netflix. They had like fooding, like where your food actually comes from, and they had one on milk, and they were saying how the big milk guys actually pushed it, but they had doctors going back and showing how horrible it was for you, what it does to your system, and pretty much after you're one, you shouldn't even touch milk or cheese.
Yeah.
Why do we eat it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, let's take a 10-minute break. Good discussions, you guys. So up on the screen there, where does this stuff come from? Fibromyalgia. Who knows what that is? You guys know what that is, all right? Acid reflux, we know what.
I don't know what fibromyalgia.
Okay, we'll come back to that here in just a second. Acid reflux, you know what that is, right? It's a bellyache. And we know what type 2 diabetes is. Okay. Fibromyalgia, I don't know, have you guys seen, has everybody heard that word? Okay, is there anybody that has not heard it? Okay. This particular condition came about 12 or so years ago, 12 to 15 years ago. And they didn't really know what it was, but it's they were calling it like I think they say in all the drug commercials, overactive nerves. And what it is you go to the doctor, they'll usually test you for lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. It's what they call an autoimmune disease. And it basically attacks your immune system. And you guys know what it feels like to be sick with the flu, right? Just achy all over, like the bottoms of your feet hurt, your hands hurt, your hair hurts, everything hurts, right? That's kind of what fibromyalgia feels like. They test you for it, or they used to test you for it, by doing pressure points on certain joints in your body. They would press on them, and if you're tender in, say they test 7, and if you're tender in 4 of the 7, then they diagnose you with this. They said there's no real cure for it, but you can manage it with staying away from caffeine, getting exercise, eating properly, all this kind of stuff.
What does caffeine do to it?
It just intensifies it, makes it hurt more. Okay. Well, now I'll get to you in just a second. Now they have all these drugs out that you've seen. I'm sure you've seen all the TV commercials for them, Lyrica, and there's a couple other ones, and which we'll talk more about in our drug ID class. They're even prescribing medicinal marijuana for it, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Mr. Ray.
I was just wondering, like, I don't know, I've heard a lot about it and this and that, and it just kind of all of a sudden came to be. So is it legit? Like, I guess you could say I don't believe in fibromyalgia. It's just a way to get meds or whatever.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
So is it like a legitimate, like?
The medical doctors, I guess, or medical world, believe that yes, it is. But the reason I know so much about it is because I was diagnosed with it in 2001, 2 days before I was to attend the Patrol Academy. Okay? And I am with you. I do not believe that it is legit. I thought at first that yes, it was, because I had a medical doctor telling me this is all the stuff that you need to do, and it hurt so bad I couldn't even get out of bed on certain days. You can keep your hand down just so you don't get tired, but I'll remember you. And it was brutal. Come to find out in researching the causes of it, because like you said, where the heck did this come from? It's just like all of a sudden. Stuff does not just happen all of a sudden. And come to find out, it was what I was eating. High volume of processed foods and high volume of pesticides on foods. So I struggled with it for a few years until I started kind of researching stuff on my own. I'm not a big one that likes to take pills or anything like that. And so I have completely redone my entire lifestyle over the last, probably 8 years. And I have not experienced anything that even remotely has to do with that. I do not. I do have some marijuana, but it's not medicinal. It's from the DEA, so we'll talk about that later.
I do think, like the fibromyalgia thing, I used to do some EMT work for a little part, since it's become like a thing, I think there's a lot of people that try to say that the stuff that they have falls under that.
Absolutely.
I remember going to this lady's house, and she was, I mean, up and down, she was making sure that we knew she had fibromyalgia. And she'd move around on her own just fine. But as soon as we started touching her, she'd freak out like she was in pain. And she could do things on her own, touch herself, bump into things, not complain about it. But as soon as we started touching it, she'd start screaming like crazy.
Absolutely.
And I think it gets abused. And people, like, when they go to the doctors, they might not necessarily be feeling what they're feeling, but they're telling them that, oh yeah, that hurts, yeah, that hurts. Because that's what she was giving us.
Well, and what do you get? What do you get when you hurt? You get painkillers. And there are many people in our society that are prescription drug seekers and prescription drug users. So that is a way bigger problem, you guys, than any illicit substance that there is. So absolutely. So make sure you're listening to your people that you're dealing with. Listen, take everything in, and ask them. You know, just like you had the experience, well, why is it that when you touch yourself, it doesn't hurt? You know, kind of play dumb. You get lots of really good information. Who had their hand up over here? You both did, okay.
And how do you convince somebody that just is dying because they have fibromyalgia, that, you know, if you look at like what you've done, how do you convince somebody of that?
That's really hard because they really have to convince themselves. You know, if they're willing to try stuff, if they're like at the end of their rope where they're like, you know what, I've tried everything and nothing is working. Nothing is working. I will try anything. Then that's kind of where they need to be in that state of desperation. But you're not going to change. You're not going to change, especially if it's an older person. You're not going to change them. You know, you can try to help them say, hey, try this new recipe, you know, with some fresh vegetables or whatever. But I mean, you're just that's really tough. It's really tough. Really tough. Did you have something?
Yeah, my mom actually has fibromyalgia, and she's been trying to do whatever she can to help herself out. She doesn't go to the doctor or take medication or anything like that. But you were saying that if she changes her diet, it will help out a lot. What kind of diet?
Diet and exercise. Just eat real food. Just not lots of vegetables, lots of fruits and vegetables. You know, and I just gave you the list of the clean 15 and the dirty dozen and all that. Try to go by that. I know our organic stuff is expensive. I know that. But a lot of stuff, if something has a skin on it, like watermelon or cantaloupe or an avocado, you don't eat that. So you don't have to worry about it being organic. You know, do your research. You guys have a plethora of places you can go. My God, the internet has everything. Now, I know you can't believe everything you see on the internet, but there's some good reputable sources out there where you can look this stuff up.
If you're into gardening too, having your own garden is
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely. Where else?
If you peel your apples, does that like get most of those pesticides off, or is the skin so thin that it just...
It's better. It's better. Apples are my one thing that I will not eat an apple if it's not organic, period. Because, and here's why. Out south of Nampa, there's a place called Sunny Slope. And they have its orchards, peach orchards, apple orchards, everything. I am driving down the road out there, Highway 55, and there's a little man in a tractor in a full hazmat suit with the little arms out on the tractor, and he's spraying the apple orchards. He's wearing a hazmat suit. That did it for me.
Out there, they have signs up warning of the chemicals used on those orchards.
I'm sorry, you know, your peel is going to be better to peel it, but if you can, just get the organic ones.
So,
Okay?
under your dirty dozen, you have spinach. So I eat a lot of spinach, a lot. Is it just because of what you're saying is the pesticides type of thing? What if it's completely organic? Is that still
Organic is...
underneath the dirty dozen?
No.
Like if you get the
No,
organic
did you read the captions at the...
No.
Okay. Okay. You know what? Read that and get back to me. Okay. Healy.
Organic doesn't mean totally pesticide-free, though. A lot of people don't realize that they just have a smaller list of
Yes.
pesticides they can use that
Yes.
are not as harmful.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Now, does it matter canned or fresh spinach, or is it both like?
So the best way to go about your canned, frozen, and fresh is always go fresh if you can. It's better to go fresh because there's more nutrients in it and it hasn't been processed. Your next option would be frozen, and then your final option would be canned. They put a lot of preservatives in canned stuff and a lot of salt to keep them preserved. If you look at the can of anything and it says it expires in September of 2018 and it's a fresh vegetable, there's probably preservatives in it, okay? Because I guarantee you if you left a thing of fresh spinach in your refrigerator for like a week, it's probably going to go bad, okay? Okay. All right, good discussions, you guys. Okay, so here's another thing. When I say here, could it be something you've eaten? I had a female officer in this class, in one of the detention classes, that she was 21 years old. One of the first days of class, she said, you know, Nichols, I have a prescription for, we were talking about, you know, I need to know if you guys are on prescriptions, make sure, you know, if we have emergency. She said, I take a prescription medicine for migraine headaches. And I'm like, you're 21 years old. What? She goes, I don't know. She goes, I've been to the doctor. I've had CAT scans. I've had all this stuff done. And I've taken so much Advil for these that I developed an ulcer in my stomach. So I said, all right. So we were hoping she wasn't going to have a migraine headache. She was out at the firearms range freaking out because her head hurt so bad. I was on my way out there with the lunches. I had to come back and go in her dorm room and search for her meds, take them out there to her to get rid of her headache. We were talking, and I said, you know, maybe it's something in your diet that's causing this. She had not had any accidents. She hadn't done anything to warrant this. I said, how long has this been going on? And she said, I've had one every day since I was 12 years old. And I thought, oh. She ended up going to a doctor that I had referred her to over in Nampa. And you know what she's allergic to? Milk and orange juice. Milk and orange juice. And so we got her out. There was a couple weeks left of the academy at that time, and she just stopped cold turkey drinking milk and orange juice. And she had not had any problems whatsoever. She graduated. She sent me a card several months later saying, I'm still headache-free. And I tell this story in every class that I have, and an officer from her department that worked with her goes, I know who that is, and just so you know, she's still headache-free. So think about the stuff if you have any chronic problems or you know somebody that has some sort of chronic ailment, that it could be something that they've eaten. Okay? Hollins.
I have chronic migraine syndrome. My grandma had them, my sister has them, I have them, my mom has them. Had them since a kid, you know. Tried every medication, diet change. I don't drink milk, I don't drink orange juice, you know, I don't eat chocolate because that's supposedly one of the triggers. It doesn't help.
And you, like we talked about genetics, you are an exception to the rule.
You know, it sucks because I am on painkillers. I've been on painkillers for a little over 10 years now. And it sucks. I don't want to be on them, but I can't.
You can't function.
I can't live,
right.
You know, with a migraine headache because I get probably 20 to 25 a month. And so, you know, I've gotten to the point where, you know, I don't take it when I go to work. You know, I have other medications. Like I take a Fibromyalgia, which is a caffeine and acetaminophen.
Right.
So, you know, that's what but the painkillers, I would love to be off the painkillers. You know, but like I said, I've tried, you know, switching all organic. I've tried, you know, but I make sure I get a CAT scan every month or every year so that, you know, I know it's not something some people have
Absolutely.
genetics and legitimate.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And you said you've had them since you were just a little guy. You know? Now, if you go through your life and you're 25 and all of a sudden you start having migraine headaches, I guarantee you it's something in your diet. It doesn't happen like that. It's not how your body works. Okay? So remember, your body needs a balance of carbs, protein, and fats. Control your weight. Americans are now the fattest and unhealthiest they've ever been. Why? Portion control. Fast-paced lifestyle. Many people travel to work, then home just in time to pick the kids up from school. Then you have to help them with their homework, get them ready for bed, maybe take them to sports practice in between there. Then we have the processed food. So we don't have time to make dinner, so we're going to go ahead and swing through the drive-thru at McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken. Technology. I mean, really, people, you don't even have to leave your home to order groceries. You really don't. You can order anything you want off of Amazon, have it delivered right to your house. Okay? And all that ties into that lack of exercise. We're just not as physically go-getting as we used to be. Okay, but we have control over that. And we get so busy and so wrapped up in everything. I go to the gym every day at 11 o'clock. And it's like an appointment on my calendar. And I'm like, nope, I can't do something between this time and this time because I am going to the gym. And I'm flexible. I have some different times that I can go. But I am die hard, 11 o'clock every day. So you just got to make it like an appointment. So you have the lack of exercise, and then eating a steady diet of processed food causes your body to be lethargic, heavy, tired, and unhealthy, pretty much. Okay? Okay. So we talked about the difference between diet and nutrition, right? Everybody get that written down? Okay. So as you guys know, there's a great deal of what I like to term quackery out there about everything. Everybody's trying to sell you something, right? Because it's all about the cash, right? Billions and billions of dollars. So in the nutrition...
What that? No, yes, no. Well, no, I crossed my mind. Yep.
Where's that from? Dumb and Dumber. So for nutrition, we talked about the sugar-free, fat-free myth, right? Just because like the big thing of red vines you buy at Costco say fat-free does not mean they're good for you. Okay? How about carbs are bad for you? You guys heard that one? Yeah, no. Do you guys know that vegetables are carbohydrates? Fruits and vegetables? Okay. Weight management, we talk about that. They have all this stuff that says, well, lose weight while you sleep. Or work your abs without sweating. So where's that little stool? You guys have seen this one. I don't even need a special machine. You guys have seen the commercials for the Ab Circle Pro, right? Right, this one? You guys have seen that, right? Seriously? Do you really think the people using it look like those women in those commercials? No, Mr. Wright, they don't. There's something for good old-fashioned hard work and sweat. If you are not sweating, you are not doing anything. Okay? Exercise was not meant to feel good. If it feels good, you're doing it wrong. Okay? It feels good afterwards. All right? So think about that in your morning PT sessions when you're going, this sucks. Guess what? You're getting a fabulous workout. Okay? If you're like, nah, this is nothing, you need to try harder. Okay? All right, so hypermalnutrition. What do you guys think that word means? Okay, you're right, but let's break it down even farther.
Eating a lot and not getting all the nutrients.
Worthington? Killing me. Right. That's what I was going to say. Pretty much too many empty calories, not enough nutrition. The food you're putting into your mouth, your body can really do nothing with it except store it as fat or eliminate it. And more than likely, it's probably going to store it as fat. All right. Now we're going to talk about the 6 classes of essential nutrients. Yes, ma'am.
Totally random question, but has
Random question, go.
Alright. So does it work the same way with trying to gain weight?
That's a good question.
Because I can't gain weight. It
You-
is impossible. I don't like you.
You need it. How old are you?
21.
That's why. I know, I was that way too when I was 21. So I would suggest for you that do you use a protein supplement? Okay, you probably should work on that, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. A protein supplement, it's just powder, and you can mix it with water or with milk or put it in a shake or whatever. That will help you, and then you need to probably start hitting the weights. So don't just think you can eat whatever, because that probably will not really make you gain weight, and it might cause you some problems. Just eat a lot more, but eat the good stuff. A lot more of the good stuff. Okay? Okay, so we're going to talk about fat. Fat is not bad for us, you guys. You have to have fat in your diet. Your brain is made up of fat. So if you don't have enough fat in your diet, guess where your body starts to rob it from? Your brain. Okay? Fat is used as energy when your body uses up all the carbs. When you need energy, the first place that your body goes is to your glycogen stores. And that's sugar and carbohydrates. Okay, if you don't have anything stored in there or you use all that, it's going to switch over to your fat stores. Okay? Fat makes you feel full longer, so a better choice for a snack besides a candy bar out of the machine would be maybe some peanuts or some almonds or some sort of nut. Okay? You have to have fat to make your body function properly. There's 2 types. I know that there's more. All right? Rewriting. Sorry. I know that there's more than 2 types of fat, but we're keeping this simple. We're not going to get big into a whole bunch of different words and all that kind of stuff. So we have good fat and we have bad fat, which we are going to call saturated fat and unsaturated fat. Okay, now the saturated fat's the bad stuff. Unsaturated is the good stuff. Okay? So saturated fat. This is usually solid at room temperature. Might look something like this. You guys are like, ew, this is not real. This is like I think it's like 5 pounds of fat. It's pretty nasty. Solid at room temperature. This is what you cut off your pork chop, right?
That's the best part of the pork chop.
Yeah.
Gross.
Okay. Sources are animal products and tropical oils. Does anyone in here use coconut oil to cook with? You're like, it's okay. Raise your hand. Coconut oil is a saturated fat, but it is a branched chain amino acid, or it has branched, not an amino acid. The way that they're put together, it's not as harmful as the fat you cut off your pork chop. In fact, it's really good for you. Okay, if you have not tried coconut oil, I recommend that you try it. It is fabulous. Yeah, like stir fry. If you make stir fry, or you know, even for me, like when I make my protein shake sometimes in the morning, I'll put a tablespoon of that in my protein shake, and it gives it just a very light coconutty flavor, and I've added the fat that I need for my shake. Yes, ma'am?
Is it better than olive oil? Out of all the
Yes.
oils you can use,
Yes.
coconut oil?
Yes.
But you couldn't use it to do your fries and the scones.
To do what?
Fries and scones.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now it does have the taste of it if you're not big on coconut, because it does have a little hint of the coconut flavor to it. But it is fabulous.
Grapeseed oil, man. I like to drink that a little bit just because.
Grapeseed oil is really good too. Yeah. It can handle more heat. Grapeseed oil is fabulous. Who was saying? Who was saying something over here? Sorry. The coconut oil is a little spendy. The best place. I'm like a huge Costco shopper, okay? Because they have great stuff at Costco. They have like a big tub of coconut oil. It's like this big around. I don't know how many ounces it is. I don't know. I cook with coconut oil all the time, and this is like the second one I bought. And it looks like lard. It's hard. It's not oil. It does. It looks just like lard. So when you look at it, you'll be like, oh.
So you scoop it out?
Yeah. You scoop it out like a tablespoon or whatever. And it's like $21 for the whole thing. Can you use what? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but I know like Fred Meyer has it, Winco has it, but it's in a smaller thing, and it's pretty expensive. It's like a little jar like this for like $8. So if you get it at Costco, it's not near as bad. All right. Now, saturated fat increases our bad cholesterol levels. That's what LDL cholesterol is. That's the bad cholesterol. Okay? And increases the risk of coronary artery disease because it increases the bad cholesterol, right? Clogging the arteries. All right, unsaturated fat. This is a heart-healthy fat, liquid at room temperature. Now, this is where your olive oil is going to come in. This usually comes from vegetable sources. Canola oil, olive oil, nuts, and avocados. How many people like avocados? Avocados are fabulous. I buy like 2 to 3 avocados a week, and between my husband and I, throughout the week, we put them on something, whether we have them with like our eggs and toast, or like we're having tacos tonight for dinner, so we're gonna have that, and we'll just separate it throughout the week to make sure we're getting that extra fat. What's that?
They go bad so fast.
I know. You got to get really ripe ones so that when you set them on the counter that they don't, yeah. I've been able to usually get through about 6 days with them. So, but you're right, they do. So you kind of got to eat them fast. Anderson?
I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Saturated and unsaturated, you were just going through this thing about coconut oil being healthy, but isn't that a tropical oil?
It is, but it's because of the way that the molecules are stringed together. It's very scientific that that specific oil is a saturated fat, but it doesn't react in your body the same way as like the fat off your pork chop. Yeah.
So
Yes.
is it better to cook with canola oil or coconut?
I would say coconut. Coconut oil's got way better benefits than a lot of your vegetable or canola oils. But it is a little bit more pricey, so it depends on how much you use oil, too. You got to factor all that stuff in, okay? So unsaturated fat decreases the bad cholesterol and increases the good cholesterol, okay?
So what does LDL and HDL stand for?
It is high-density lipoprotein and low-density lipoprotein. Nothing that you will have to know on the test. All right. So we're going to give you some strategies for reducing your saturated fat intake. Lean cuts of beef and pork and limit portion size. So what is a portion of beef? No, Forrest Green, that's not right. Yes, ma'am. A deck of cards. Now listen. We have been trained our whole lives and told our whole lives that there's 3 meals a day, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If that's how you've been brought up, then when we tell you that you only get a steak the size of a deck of cards, you're going to freak out, right? In theory, you are supposed to be eating about 5 to 6 meals a day. Now, if you're going to eat that huge steak that's like 12 ounces, right, which is what maybe most of 12 to 16 ounces, okay, then maybe if we took that steak that's this big and we cut it into 4 equal pieces and we eat it throughout the day, you're going to do much better for your body, and it's going to be able to absorb that a lot better. And you're not going to be hungry throughout the day.
What you're saying is we need more lunch breaks?
No. Go ahead, sir.
So lean cuts is good. Do you eat elk at all?
Elk is one of the best things that you could possibly eat, wild game. Because for the most part, it's all organic. And it's very lean, very lean. In fact, when they process it, if they make hamburger, they have to add fat to it, usually.
Isn't buffalo leaner than elk?
I don't know if it's leaner, but it's right in that same category. I don't know about leaner, but it's a lean one as well. White meat, poultry, or fish instead of red meat. Now, here's the thing. I am a red meat person. I like red meat. I have kind of changed the way I do things, and so I do not eat red meat every day of the week. Okay, I had steak last night for dinner. I'm having tacos tonight. Now that's red meat. I'm going to have turkey burgers tomorrow, and I don't know what's on the menu for, shrimp stir fry for Thursday. Okay, as you could probably have guessed, my meals are planned out. My lunch and my dinner meals, I have a whiteboard on my pantry. I write everything up there. I know exactly what I need to get at the grocery store. So nothing goes bad. And I know exactly what I need, so I don't have any leftover stuff. Like I have leftovers, but I don't have just stuff randomly that I don't ever use.
So then you basically go to the grocery store every day?
Nope, I go every week. Once a week. I go to Costco and I go to the grocery store every week. I do. Stick margarine. Look, if you're gonna use, everybody likes butter, right? And this is kind of my dairy exception. If I'm gonna have something with butter, which is rare, it's gonna be butter, real butter. You look on the package and you read it. It says cream and salt. That's the only 2 ingredients. You're good to go. You look on the back of margarine, you can't pronounce them. Okay? So, yeah, 1 ingredient away from plastic. So do not, if you can get away from the whole margarine thing, do that and just use regular butter. It's so much better for you. But again, it's one of those things very high in fat, so you need to use it in moderation. Okay? Butter is awesome. It's right up there with bacon. I know, guys. I know how it is. The whipped butter is just as good. They just process it differently. I've recently started using the whipped butter, and it's kind of weird when you take it out because it's like not smooth or something, but I like it. I think it tastes really good. Reduce consumption of fast food, which is hard, I know. Again, a little bit of planning can take you a long way. Pastries and other baked goods. If you are probably hooked on sugar, you will have to slay the sugar demon. There's sugar in everything. Whole milk. We kind of had the milk conversation already. At no point in your adult life do you need whole milk. Except for the young lady in the do you drink milk? You don't drink milk, okay. If you did, I would suggest whole milk, because that would help you gain weight as well. But so younger people, little people, the midgets, right? The little people. And those are kids. I don't have kids. So they're the little people. And older people that are a little frail and losing weight, they recommend that they drink whole milk dairy products. Okay?
Yogurts aren't good for you?
Yogurts are a protein. Actually, not a carbohydrate. Or not a fat. Okay, so carbohydrates. Here's the thing with carbohydrates. There's different types of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not bad for you, okay? They are not a food group. They're something that's found in foods. So you have got to have carbohydrates. You have to. This is what your body takes the most energy from in order for you to get through the day. All right? So real quick story for you. We had a female here in one of our academies that was working out. She was actually, she was in a correction class because the PT was optional for corrections. She was working out. She's a heavier set gal, really wanted to lose weight, was working out, doing a great job, showed up every morning for PT. And she had heard somewhere, one of her friends told her that carbohydrates were bad for her. So she was not eating any carbohydrates at all. We found her passed out in the shower in the locker room and had to school her on what she needed to be eating. So don't believe everything that you hear. I mean, take into account where you're getting the information from, okay?
Wasn't that what the Atkins diet was based on? No carbohydrates?
Well, the problem is, here's the thing with the Atkins diet. It was, but the problem is that people don't understand what a carbohydrate is, okay? Grains are carbohydrates. Beans have carbohydrates in them, okay? And also fruits and vegetables. So there's nothing wrong with the Atkins diet other than they told you no fruit, which was ridiculous, okay? But there's people all over that don't eat grains, and because there's certainly not, there's some stuff that's not the best thing for you. But yes, you're going to suffer. You got to eat a crap load of vegetables, I mean a lot of vegetables, in order to get those carbohydrates. Okay, vegetables are a carbohydrate, and most people don't realize that. So when we're talking about a low-carb diet, they're usually talking about those breads and rice and all that kind of stuff. And if you're active and you eat those at the right time, a lot of this is just a timing thing. That you're, you know, especially if you're trying to lose weight, it becomes even more of a timing thing. We're getting there. We're getting there. So you have to have carbohydrates. Okay, it's your primary source of energy that provides all your muscles and your brain and everything. If you don't have carbohydrates, you're going to feel like poo. They all break down into sugars, but they react differently depending on the type. Okay? So here's the thing. There's two different types. There's a simple and a complex. Okay, so we're going to talk about complex first because they're more important, much more important. So a complex carbohydrate. A complex carbohydrate should make up a large portion of your diet. Okay, now here's the thing. If you guys ever go to a nutritionist or a personal trainer, anything like that, and they put you on a diet that they put all of their clients on, they are not good at their job because everybody's body is different. Okay? My body does not operate very well on a high carbohydrate diet. My body operates very well on a high fat diet, which is weird, I know. But everybody's a little bit different. Okay? Because all of our bodies are different, our lifestyles are different, our genetics are different. So when we talk about carbohydrates that you should be eating, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes are beans. These are low in saturated fat and cholesterol. They're usually low in sodium. You get some of the canned beans. You should always rinse them. If you're using canned beans like black beans or white beans or whatever, just rinse them off. They're very high in fiber, vitamins and minerals, and complex carbohydrates slowly raise your blood sugar.
What's in the white rinse?
They have a lot of salt on them and a lot of preservatives. So if you buy a can of beans, now obviously like Bush's beans, you're not going to rinse those off because they're supposed to taste like that. But if you just buy a can of like black beans or white beans that you're going to put in chili, it's best to rinse them off.
So once again, is it better to buy like the dry beans or the canned beans?
You know, probably so, but out of convenience, it is better. It's always better to buy the most natural state of something. So it's better to buy the dry beans and do it that way. But out of convenience, you got to soak those things forever, you know? So, yeah. What do you know that I don't know, Morales?
I don't know. I don't have to soak my beans overnight to make them turn out soft.
Well, we need to talk then. I want to know your secret. So I soak beans for like 24 hours and put them in chili and cook all day for 8 hours, and they're still kind of tough. All right. So fiber is a complex carbohydrate that your body cannot break down. Fiber is what is in a plant, okay? So think about an apple or a stalk of celery. They're very rigid. They're crisp when you bite into them, right? Okay? That means it has fiber. Processed food, everything in the middle aisles, right? They usually don't have fiber in them. They add it back in. Okay? Because none of that stuff, they take all the fiber and the vitamins and minerals out and process the bejesus out of it and then put it all back in. And anything that they have to add something back in is not the best thing for us. So fiber helps control blood sugar. It prevents you from being constipated, which is very important, and decreases your risk of bowel disease, that just doesn't sound like fun at all. It helps reduce cholesterol, and it also works as an appetite suppressant. So if you're eating, again, we go to the candy bar or the apple that you took extra at lunch, you're better off eating that apple. Okay? Fiber is often called nature's broom. Good way to put that, huh? Right?
I just had a question earlier about the carbs. Sorry to change subject.
Okay.
Maybe it's a stupid question. I don't know what it means, but when you see something that has like net carbs on the label, what does that mean?
Net carbs. Yeah. That's what's going in.
Like, is that all? Doesn't matter what carbs. It just that includes the simple, the complex, and the fiber.
Yeah, it's everything.
Okay.
Okay, simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates have a low nutrient density. Now, these are just empty calories. This is your table sugar, your soda, candy, cookies, any type of syrup. Fake fruit juice. What's fake fruit juice?
10% Sunny juice.
Sunny Delight. There's not an ounce of fruit anywhere in that. Sports drinks, energy drinks. You guys are like,
So no Gatorade? Bad for you?
here's the thing with Gatorade. I don't know if we're there yet, but let me. Okay, these have no fiber. Oh, here's an answer to one of Anderson's questions coming up here. So it's best to eat your carbohydrates, and we're talking about your starchy carbohydrates like potatoes, bread, rice, pasta, earlier in the day so your body has time to burn them off. Okay? Like before 3 or 4 p.m. Yes. And if you're going to eat sugar, if you're going to eat a piece of cake, it'd be better to have it at lunchtime than at dinner time. And best in the morning. Best for breakfast. Well, Nichols said to eat it at breakfast. I can see it now. Okay, so really quick, before you guys run off, I just want to show you. So this right here, Powerade, right? 32 ounces of Powerade. This there's 4 servings in this. For each 8 ounces, which is 1 cup, right? So in that whole bottle, if you were to equate that to sugar, that's how much like table sugar would be in that bottle of Powerade. So you could just have some water and eat this, and you'd be good. Same thing, right? Can of Pepsi. This is 1 can is the serving size. This has 41 grams of sugar in it.
So there isn't a myth about the electrolytes or whatever. I don't know what they are. I just heard you say it's not special.
No, we'll get to Powerade and Gatorade and all that, and when you need it and all that. So that's how much is in here. 1 can of Pepsi. Aha! Yeah. So this particular can actually came from a correction student sitting in about where Miss Simmons is sitting. So you're in the lucky seat there. And this gentleman would come every day for 4 weeks with one of these. Every day for 4 weeks had one of these. Okay? And he came to me one day and he said, Nichols, I got to go to the doctor. I don't feel good. I said, all right. So I sent him over to the doctor. And he could barely stand up. Sent him over to the doctor, and he came back. He had kidney stones. I've never had kidney stones. I've seen several people that have had them, and I don't want to have them. I mean, they look very painful. And he's like, yeah, he goes, the doctor told me to stop drinking rock stars as that's what's causing it. And I said, well, you probably should listen to the doctor. And he goes, well, last time this happened. Really? It took twice. So in this can of Rockstar, that's how much sugar's in there. So if you guys drink these, I guarantee you are a sugar addict. Sir.
There's some energy drinks that say they're good for you, like one of the monsters, like Monster.
They're not good for you. None of the energy drinks are good for you. They are not good for you.
There's a monster that has protein, says it's protein or something like that.
You know what? Go to the store tonight. Go to the store tonight and look at the back of it and tell me, next time I see you, I'll ask you how many of the ingredients you could pronounce.
I'll just go to my room. I have a 10-pack in there.
There you go.
And I also heard if you look at the ingredients and you can't read or pronounce it, don't put it in your body. That's what I heard.
Absolutely. That is absolutely true.
Anderson's sitting over here.
The 5-hour energies, I haven't done a whole lot of looking into those, but I know it's like a lot of vitamins and stuff, but I don't think they're that good for you.
The sparkling water that you see over at like Costco, the ice.
The sparkling waters, if they have anything that says 0, if it says 0, it means it's diet, which means they've taken the sugar out of it and placed a chemical in there to replace the sugar to make it sweet. You have like that Peligro and Perrier sparkling water. That is fine. It's just carbonated water. When I go to a restaurant, I drink club soda. I do not drink tea or water or anything like that. I get club soda with lime because all it is carbonated water. So, did you have something?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Spark?
Spark?
Yeah, from Advocare.
No.
It's a powdered energy drink mix, and they say it's better for you than energy drink.
If it's from Advocare, it probably is. They have some pretty good stuff.
Stand by their product.
But you still got to watch out for supplements and stuff. I've had a couple of you ask about supplements and all that. Those are still chemicals. So you got to watch it. You're just adding, and they usually have tons of sugar in it. And if it's not sugar, then it's other stuff.
I just was wondering if I was waiting to see if you're going to get into some of the sugar addiction, how much sugar most Americans drink or eat on a yearly basis compared to what like our ancestors did at the turn of the century.
Oh yeah, it's astounding. Millions.
The average at the turn of the century, the 1900s, was like 3 pounds per year on average. Now the average American consumes 90 pounds of sugar a year.
Yeah. We are all sugar, most of us are sugar addicts. And I challenge you, if you don't think you are, or even if you think you are, is try getting off of it for a week. Don't do it here, because I don't want to put up with you.
Coffee.
Coffee?
It's horrible for you.
Regular coffee? Caffeine is a natural stimulant that comes from coffee beans. So if you're going to drink black coffee, you're probably all right. Again, in moderation.
So every day is moderation?
How much? Do you drink a whole pot every day?
Yeah.
Or do you have a cup of coffee every day? I mean, that's one of the most recent things that I personally have gotten rid of is I love coffee, but I've gotten, what?
I'm trying to quit. It's been pretty rough.
Well, I went from caffeinated to decaffeinated, and I am fine. I don't drink caffeine. So here's the thing, I run a lot, and so I have these little energy gels that when I'm about 8 miles in on a run and I'm starting to tank, I will take one of those gels that has about 25 milligrams of caffeine in it, and it's like friggin' jet fuel. It's awesome. So, all right, you guys, let's take a 10-minute break. We're going to talk about protein. Protein is very, very important. Protein is how your body builds muscle, and you have to have muscle in order to do anything. You have to have protein in order to help your muscles repair. We were talking on the break a little bit about a protein supplement, about supplements in general, and you really don't need a whole lot of supplements. The supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They sell a supplement for everything, and everybody's making them. They're loaded, most of them are loaded with sugar. Okay?
Just going to say on the supplements, 99% of them, if you go back and actually read the university studies behind the supplements, every single one of them was done through intravenously, so it was not whatever they're claiming helps with muscle recovery to grow muscle.
Intravenously.
Yeah, there was what did I say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it was all done intravenously. So and then you go and buy this stuff that you ingest, has to bypass the gut. It all gets destroyed to zero if it gets to the bloodstream, and so you're actually literally flushing your money down the toilet.
Interesting.
Not doing what the university studies did. If you have a needle at home and you're injecting it into the bloodstream,
And you can mix it up and.
Exactly.
Are you talking about like
Heat it up.
workout supplements or just all supplements like iron supplements?
No. Just like the powdered supplements, like all the stuff, all the pre-workout drinks that they have and the post-workout and all of that stuff. Now, the only one that's probably really a good one, and the reason why, is going to be a protein supplement. Okay, if you're working out, you should be eating a gram of protein, depending on how hard you're working out, a gram of protein to your pound of body weight. So me, I weigh 130 pounds. I should be eating 130 pounds of protein with what I do. Thank you, Mr. Bannister. With what I do for my workout regimen. I lift heavy weights. I run all the time. I do 2-a-days twice a week. So I should be eating a lot of protein. Okay, and I can't eat 130 grams of protein without a protein supplement. I just can't do it. Okay?
I'm not saying my dad is an expert by any means, but my dad always told me if you're working out so hard that you can't naturally eat what you need to sustain your workout, that your workout is probably too hard on your body.
And that's absolutely true. Absolutely. Okay? You can overtrain, which is what he's talking about, and that's not good for anybody. So some of the other supplements that are out there, you just got to be really careful about supplements, even vitamins that are out there. They have some of them have a lot of starch in them. You got to try to find a vitamin that comes from a whole food supplement, and not like some of your 1-a-days and centuries, or they're just not good for you. So, yeah. So, ma'am?
You probably shouldn't have gummy vitamins.
Couldn't have what?
The gummy vitamins?
The gummy vitamins? Yeah, probably not. Duh! Yeah. Okay, protein question.
So basically, if we weren't going to take the supplement, what are you telling me, like meat and chocolate milk?
Chocolate milk is good after a workout, but you shouldn't drink a whole lot of it. Again, it's in moderation, because it does have a lot of carbohydrates in it because of the lactose that's in the milk. So, and you don't. So meat is really good for you. Eggs, if you eat dairy is high in protein.
What about the egg yolk?
The egg yolk is a little cholesterol pill. So no. Like this morning I had 3 eggs, but I had 2 whole eggs and 1 white. So you can buy egg whites at the store. They're liquid. You can add those to a protein shake. They don't taste like anything. Okay? Or you can put them in oatmeal. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. Protein helps you feel full longer. It helps regulate your hormones and pump up your immune system. If you don't have enough protein, sometimes you can get really sick, because your immune system is not functioning properly. You do need more. If you're active, like you guys are, you're going to need more protein. So a sedentary person, if you take 0.36 and multiply it by your body weight, that would be just somebody that sits on the couch and does nothing. If you're active, depending on your level of activity, 0.75 to 1 gram. Some of these really elite athletes are even at 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, look at Michael Phelps, right? For the swimmer, everybody knows who he is, right? He's eating like 10,000 calories a day when he's training. You know how much food that is? I can't even eat that many calories in a week, I don't think. So, yeah, that's what it says on the commercial. All right, so sources of protein, your complete protein. A complete protein just means it has all of the essential amino acids that's required by the body. Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, dairy products, which would be milk, cheese, and yogurt. Now, some soy products are also considered complete proteins. Again, we talked about early on, not a big fan of soy just because it does mess with your hormones. There are also protein in vegetables. Some green vegetables have protein in them, like spinach has protein in it. Oatmeal has protein in it. It's not just a real high source of protein. So beans have protein in them. Okay, but how we distinguish where a food falls, whether it's a carbohydrate or a fat or a protein, is usually determined by the highest content Okay, so for example, beans have a higher protein content than they do carbohydrates. Or I'm sorry, yeah, higher protein than they do carbohydrate. Okay, does that make sense? But here's the thing, milk is the exception, because if you go home or while you're in the cafeteria tomorrow, or tonight, look at the carton of milk, and it's going to have more carbohydrates than it does protein because of the sugar, which is lactose, which is weird. They consider it a protein.
What about lactose-free milk?
Lactose-free milk, I don't know much about that. Does anyone else know much about the lactose? I know they take that sugar out. I don't know what it tastes like. I don't know what the nutritional value is. I don't know. Typically what I've run into is most people that have a lactose intolerance go to almond milk or coconut milk.
I do lactate. My kids do it because they're lactose intolerant.
Okay.
I don't know as far as
Nutritional, yeah.
value of it, though.
I don't know. I just don't. I haven't looked at that too much. So an incomplete protein, they're usually just non-animal proteins, and this just means that they're missing one of those essential amino acids. You can combine some of this stuff together to make a complete protein, like beans and rice, or peanut butter and whole wheat bread. Your nut butters are really good sources of protein as well. Peanut butter, now we're not talking about Jif. It has a lot of hydrogenated oils in it. You need to get probably the natural stuff like the Adams. And no, it doesn't taste as good, especially if you're used to Skippy and Jif and all that. I think some of the Skippy or Jif or one of them has an all-natural one now. Again, look at your ingredient label, and it should say peanuts and salt. And you got to mix it up because it's got the oil.
Well, they have the no-stir one now.
They have the no-stir one. So almond butter is really popular. And recently, I have actually started, I have a little bit of an allergy to almonds, so I can't really have almonds to make my stomach upset. So I started eating cashew butter. Has anybody tried that? That stuff is, oh my gosh. It is to die for. It is really expensive, but it is so good. Cashews are pretty high in fat, but it's a healthy fat. So try the cashew. I would never eat peanut butter again. I tried that cashew butter and oh, so good. What do you got, Hanson?
Okay, so I've got friends on like professional football teams. Like one of my friends actually just got on with the Jets. And after he worked out a lot of times, he had amino acids like protein that he mixed in. Is that good or bad?
Absolutely. Proteins are amino acids. And so after a workout, you got to have protein because that's what's healing your muscles. Does that make sense? Okay? So that's real important. Okay?
So does it matter, like if you work out in the morning as compared to at night and have protein afterward, either one?
No. Whatever's best for you. All right, vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are organic substances. What we mean by that is they're made by plants or animals. Minerals are inorganic. They come from the earth. And your body needs these to work properly. So I have calcium listed up there. Calcium, like we talked about, is a mineral. It's needed to form strong bones. A deficiency in vitamin D can result in a disease called rickets, which is actually the body's inability to absorb calcium, so it makes the bones brittle. So everything kind of works together. Your body cannot produce calcium, so therefore you have to get it through food. Because it comes from the ground, like we talked about, if you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, you should be getting plenty of calcium. So trace minerals are other minerals like iron, copper, iodine, selenium. You need a very small amount of these each day. And the best way to get these is just to eat a balanced diet with a variety of foods. You can usually get enough from what you are consuming. Okay? Okay, water. Water next to oxygen is the most important thing that you need. So, that is a 2-liter bottle. I bought that, had soda in it, and I dumped it out because I wanted the bottle, because everybody can relate to a 2-liter bottle of soda, right? So, you guys should be drinking at least 2 liters of water a day. At least. Okay? Not something with water in it. Water. Okay? It is very important. So, it flushes out your system. Your body's made up mostly of water. And it will keep you awake in class, because usually you will feel the sensation to wet your pants, and you don't want to do that in front of your classmates. So you'll stay awake, right? Another way to know that you're drinking enough water is that you are producing clear urine. Okay, that's usually a pretty good way. If you work on at least 2 liters of water a day, you will not be dehydrated. Obviously, if you're doing more work and you're sweating and all of that kind of stuff, then obviously you're going to need more. Okay? Water helps your muscles feel better because it flushes all that stuff out of your muscles. You have to have it. If you don't have water, you'd be poisoned by your own waste, which is kind of a nasty thing to think about. Okay? Water is what we need when we digest food. So we know that we can live up to like 3 weeks without food, but only a few days without water. You gotta have it. Yes, ma'am.
I do have another question about...
Is this a random question?
Well, it has to do with the clear urine part.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
For us, when people come in to do UA, if their urine is too clear, which could be from hydration, we think that they're flushing their system. I mean, why do we do that?
They probably are. I mean, that's it's possible that they're not. Okay, we don't want to group everybody into that, but most people don't drink enough water. Most of us the American population is dehydrated because we don't drink enough water. So with that said, you kind of group the people, our clients, for lack of a better word, that we deal with on a daily basis. They're really not the best characters, or they don't make the best decisions. They're not educated, especially about this kind of stuff. So it is highly possible that they are trying to flush everything out of their system. They know they have to come do a UA, and that's why they come in and it looks like they just put the cup under the faucet, and you're like, really? So highly possible. But if there's something in their system, more than likely it's still going to show up in a UA. So, but that's an excellent observation on your part. Excellent observation. So without water, you get kidney stones, which we brought up already. That doesn't sound fun. Lubricates our joints. Obviously, it helps with perspiration. If you're somebody that sweats a lot, you probably need to be drinking more water. Okay? Real important. Do you think there's a toxicity level for water? Yes. Somebody can die from drinking too much water? Yes. Absolutely. It's happened. It happens in the military. And it also, I know there was, several years ago, I remember seeing something about one of the Minnesota Vikings football players that died from drinking too much water. Probably, yeah. which is ridiculous.
They even had callers call in and be like, it was
You're gonna
some
die.
It's like, your people could probably die from this.
Yeah, and the reason why that is because it rinses all of your electrolytes out of your body. So you have nothing in there. And that's what you die from. Okay? So, here's the Gatorade conversation. Are you ready, Anderson? Yep. All right. So, sports drinks are water. Most sports drinks contain water, sugar, and electrolytes. So, electrolytes are sodium, potassium, magnesium. It's what our bodies need to function properly. Now, when you are sick, like you've been vomiting, whether it be from an illness or a hangover or whatever, it's best to get those electrolytes back into your system. So if you drink Gatorade or Powerade, that is really going to make you feel a whole lot better. Okay?
Isn't Pedialyte better for you than...
Pedialyte is another good one. It's the same thing. It's just, I think, got some lower levels of the stuff because I think Pedialyte is for children.
It does taste like garbage, but
Right. Sports drinks do have a significant physiological advantage compared to water during long-term exercise. This is an hour or more of profuse sweating. So if you are running nonstop in a game of basketball, then a sports drink would probably be a good thing. If you run a half marathon or a full marathon or a triathlon, probably a good thing to supplement with a sports drink afterwards or maybe even during. Okay? If you're out in the heat that's been out there these last few months, moving 4 tons of hay, okay, probably a good thing to have a sports drink with you. Okay? For the stuff that you guys are going to be doing here at Post, it is not necessary that you have a sports drink. If you want, that's your choice, but it's not necessary. Most individuals do not exercise long enough or hard enough to warrant a sports drink. And for somebody that's wanting to lose weight or stay away from the sugar, this just provides more calories and more sugar that we don't really need. Okay? Another really good one for replenishing electrolytes is coconut water. Now, I will be the first one to tell you that it tastes like garbage. You have to have an acquired taste for it. It's kind of like coffee. You know, the first time you had coffee, you were like, why do people drink this? You know, it's the same thing. But coconut water is really good, and it's more of a natural substance than some of the sports drinks. Okay? Any questions about any of that, nutrition-wise? Sir?
What about loss of salt when you're sweating profusely? When you sweat a lot, you get kind of, you can actually get pretty sick by having a lack of salt.
You can get very sick from...
First, they used to, have you take salt tablets. And then everybody said that was a taboo. But
well, here's the thing. You do, depending on how much you're sweating, okay? Most people have enough salt based on their diet, if we're looking at the standard American diet, because they put salt in everything. If you know you have a low sodium in your system, you can certainly supplement with salt. You could put some salt in your water, not enough to where you taste it, but where it's in there. You know, in a liter thing like this, put a couple shakes of salt in there, and that will help you replenish those minerals. Table salt is not so much the way to go. sea salt is better, or they have Himalayan salt. It's actually pink salt. The pink salt is the best that you can get because it has all almost, I think it's like 70 minerals in there. And it's a little bit saltier than regular salt, and you usually get it in a grinder. So that's the best thing to do. You can certainly die from that. I don't think there's probably a whole lot of us in here that would be in that situation unless you were out doing some horrendous exercise somewhere, and your diet was that you didn't use salt in anything. And you may not salt your food, but if you're eating your diet is high in processed food, I guarantee you got plenty of salt in your diet or in your body. So, very good question. All right, we're going to talk about stress, since this word has come up many times. I was going to say, let me just say a couple things before we get off the nutrition thing. If you guys have not watched, what's the name of it, Worthington? Food Inc. Thank you. Food Inc. That's really a good documentary on kind of where your food comes from. You can get it on Netflix. And I saw another one that's also on there that one of my former students told me about, and it's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And that's a really good one. Now, here's that one is about a guy that's really overweight and unhealthy, and he juices everything, like forever, like a long time. And he loses a ton of weight, and he runs into another guy that wants to do it, and all he does is juice like apples and all this kind of fruits and vegetables, and he's got this little setup in the back of his car that's battery operated. And that's not to say that that's bad, because he does lose a lot of weight and all that kind of stuff, but understand that's all he's doing, like for every meal. So I can imagine that he's missing out on some stuff in his diet, like protein, maybe. When you juice stuff, you get all the vitamins and minerals, but you don't get a lot of the fiber, because the fiber is what's in the skin. So it's an interesting show, but I think there's some holes in it if you look at the big picture.
Fiber supplement to
You could, but let me tell you what I did. This is what I believe has made me successful. I'm 41 years old. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I've never been able just to do like a static pull-up, and I can do like 5 now. And I'll tell you what my secret is. It's 2 things. Number 1 is CrossFit. I started going to CrossFit in December. I've drank the CrossFit Kool-Aid. I love it. My hands are tore up. I have holes in my hands from doing 65 pull-ups yesterday. I can't even grip the steering wheel in my car when I drive home. And I love every minute of it. My butt hurts so bad I can't even sit down from doing 40 front squats yesterday. But I'm totally content. This is not me complaining, okay? The other thing is I purchased a Vitamix. A Vitamix is a blender. It's a high-powered blender. And they are very expensive, I will tell you right now. And what I did is that's what my husband and I asked for Christmas. So my mom and his mom gave us money, and we purchased it. They have them at Costco, and they demo them sometimes. You can make soup in them. You can make desserts. You can make smoothies. The thing will liquefy an avocado pit. I'm not kidding. I've done it because I didn't believe him. Okay? So my protein shake consists of like 4 ounces of apple juice, cucumber, red pepper, broccoli, kale, spinach, protein powder, and about a cup of frozen fruit. You cannot taste the vegetables at all. Mm-mm. No, I'm not.
Yeah, but how does that, so my wife makes shakes all the time, and never one time has one of those shakes filled me up. I always have to eat something afterwards.
You're not putting the right stuff in it.
All right, give us
I
the
guarantee
recipe.
you. The protein powder in that, I eat every 3 hours. And the protein powder in that, I can go a full 3 hours without even being hungry. So, and I drink those probably about 3 times a week, and the other 2 days I have eggs and sweet potatoes or something. So just something to think about, okay? Another thing I want to share with you really quick is my lunch pail. This is not my tactical bag. It's my lunch pail. So I found this in a magazine that I was reading. It's a little free magazine. And it's from Six Pack Bags. And it has shelves in it. I didn't eat my snack. But it has little shelves in it that come out. It comes with these little containers. This one comes with 3. You can get one that's bigger that comes with 5. And so it's got this, and it comes with ice packs. So these are still hard. It's been in my office since 6 o'clock this morning. Okay, it comes with ice packs. There's 2 of them. You have a little thing here that you can put all your little supplements and all your pills and everything that you take in there. And then it's got the two side pockets that has stuff, little compartments. So this one I got on Amazon. It was like $60. Understand, I do not eat out hardly at all. There's like 5 restaurants that I eat at. And so the money that I would spend eating out, I spent on this. And the other thing that I purchased was a refrigerator because they have all these new really cool refrigerators that keep your produce really nice. And so like I would get a thing of celery and it would be bad in like a week. And it lasts like 3 weeks in my new refrigerator. But it wasn't, my refrigerator was not cheap. But I've never bought a refrigerator before ever in my life. And I'll probably never have to buy one again. So those are just some of the little things. These things are great because you can take them to work with you. You know, all your stuff stays cold. And you don't have to worry about forgetting it in the refrigerator at work or whatever. So this has been huge. My husband and I both have one of these. And it does help when your significant other is on the same page as you. It's really hard when they're not. Okay? Sixpackbags.com. I'm not sure. It's got a big 6 on the back of it. I don't know, just try Googling it. And not right now, but of course not. All right, we're going to get into talking about stress here, guys. So, how many people in here have ever jumped out of an airplane? Okay, when you guys jumped out of the airplane, how was it? It was awesome. Worthington says awesome. Healy?
Scariest thing in my life.
But would you do it again?
Yeah.
You would? Okay, so it was invigorating. Loved it, right? Who else?
That was impressive.
It was impressive?
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. How many of you would never jump out of a perfectly good airplane ever in your life? You'd be throwing a cold, dead body out the door. Okay? So here's the thing. Stress is a perception, an attitude, a personal reaction to a certain event. The same experience that stresses one person might positively invigorate someone else, or an event that paralyzes one might inspire another. So this is based on stress is based on your life, your life experiences, what you've been through in your life. Has anybody in here served in Iraq or Afghanistan? All right. So for you guys, you may have had bullets zinging past your head on a daily basis, wondering if you were ever going to make it back. So being here in this academy is not really too big of a deal, because you're pretty sure that nobody's gonna take you out from 200 yards away or whatever, or you're gonna get blown up driving your car off campus. Okay. Whereas some of you in here, this may be the first time that you've spent away from your family or your children, and it might be a little bit stressful for you. Okay, a little bit different. Again, your attitude or personal reaction to an event. And all of us are different. How many of you in here have been in a fight in the jail? Okay? The first time you were in a fight in the jail, was that a little, oh? Yeah, I was like this. Oh my God. Okay? Yeah, not till after. It was after. All right? But those of you that have been in law enforcement for a while, Hollins, how many fights you been in? More than you care to count, right?
Like I was telling a guy earlier, in the month of August in 2008, we had 25 staff assaults, and I think I was involved in 15.
That should say something about you, man.
Well, I wasn't the one getting assaulted.
Oh, gotcha,
I only got
gotcha.
assaulted
I'm
a
with
couple
you.
times.
I'm with you.
I was there.
But you guys understand, you understand what I'm saying. Okay, the more situations and the more stuff that you see in your life, the first time it's like that big shock, and the more times you go through it, you're like, okay, I've dealt with this before, I know how to handle it again. Okay, and it's not that big a deal. Okay? So when we're under chronic stress, there are many things that happen to our body, and it's amazing that stress can cause this stuff. Okay? Cardiovascular disease, brain atrophy, causes your brain to shrink. Reduced immunity, cancer, diabetes, excess body fat, muscle pain, bone loss, nutrient depletion, anxiety and depression, and accelerated aging. Stress imposes long-term wear and tear on your body and directly precipitates illness from headaches, heart attacks, sexual dysfunction, acne, and even cavities. It's amazing that stress can have that much effect on our bodies. So it's very important that we know how to manage it, recognize it when it's there, and try to either reduce it or get rid of it. I'll tell you guys a quick story. A couple years ago, they put me in charge of this building. We did not have a training manager. You guys have met Mr. Olson? You guys met Training Manager Olson yet? Okay. He's now the training manager, but we had some changing of the guard, and we had that position vacated. And that person is the manager over everybody that works in this building, over all the front office staff, all the training coordinators, everything. So apparently I drew the short straw because they put me in charge over everything. And I was very stressed. I didn't realize it, but I was extremely stressed having to run a detention academy. I also manage all of the law enforcement canines in the state, so I was doing that job, as well as managing everybody here, doing schedules, making sure people were here at work, making sure their work got done. It was tough. And one day I had got done helping with PT, and I was taking a shower in the locker room. I was fixing my hair in the mirror, And I was messing with it, and I looked, and there was a spot about that big on my head that was bald, like his head, right here. And I thought, I had recently got my hair cut, and I thought, well, the lady didn't say anything. So I went to her, and she's like, oh, yeah. She goes, you have alopecia. It's an autoimmune disease. Happens when you get stressed. Your hair falls out. And I thought, wow. I mean, it was about this, a little bit bigger than a quarter. And I thought, well, that's really weird. And so I went to the dermatologist at that time, and this was when I was not as educated as I am now, and because I didn't want to be bald. And so they gave me steroid shots in my head to make the hair grow back. And it grew back, and I got out of that position, and they hired someone else. Well, then we lost that person, and I got to be training manager again. Boy, was that fun. Because that same spot came back, and I remember being at home, and I told my husband, I said, this is not, I had to take a step back and say, you know, is this really worth it? Is it really worth it? This is what's happening to how my body's reacting to this. And I said, can you look at the rest of my head to see if there's more? I mean, and he's like, oh. And there was a spot this big right back here. And so, yeah. So about that time, I said, no more. Done. But I do remember walking out the doors right here, and it was in the winter time, and the wind was blowing. And we were going to a staff meeting, and all the staff were behind me, and my hair blew, and Susan Brushy was like, oh my gosh. And it was like I mooned her. It was awful. I mean, I don't really get too embarrassed ever, so I thought it was kind of funny, and we always had a joke about it. So everybody around here knows how stressful this position was on Jill because she lost all of her hair. So, but I was seriously, if it wasn't going to grow back, I was like going to do the Sinead O'Connor, Demi Moore, I don't know. I was going Bannister. Yeah, Britney Spears, she was the latest one. She's a freak. Yeah. So with that said, there's several different types of stress. There is temporary stress. So this would be like a visit from the boss. Now, all of these might be related to this specific academy. This could be a temporary stress in your life. Okay, you're here, you can't take care of things at home. It could also be a chronic stress. Okay? Stress that remains with you, dealing with a boss every day that makes you miserable, or maybe a coworker that you have to work with that just drives you crazy. Past stress, residual stress that you can't let go of. This is where our post-traumatic stress fits in. Or current stress, again, related maybe possibly to the academy. Situational stress during an existing situation where too little time to complete the tasks that have been assigned to you. And future stress, worrying about what might happen. Okay? Any questions on any of those? So there are 4 things to work on to preventing stress from occurring and recovering from it when it does occur. So the first one is sleep. Very important to get a good night's sleep. We talked about this the first couple hours of the class, good nutrition. It's important to eat properly. Physical activity and some form of relaxation. For all of us, that is very different, okay? So sleep. Alleviating stress is sleep. Now, as you know, when we're stressed, it's very difficult to go to sleep, right? And when we're sleepy and tired and irritable, we're stressed. So it's kind of the catch-22. Our lack of sleep lowers the energy levels and our coping abilities. You just don't have, we talked about this early on, you just don't have the mental capacity to deal with stuff. Sleep-deprived people actually average twice as many doctor visits a year. So make sure you are getting sleep. Mr. Gray? Okay. Better suggestions for sleep. Be sure your mattress, your pillow, and your sheets are comfortable. Okay, that's really important. Keep your bedroom dark and cool. Most people like to sleep in a cooler environment. When it's hot, it's really difficult for you to go to sleep because you actually usually get warm when you are sleeping. Okay? Try to exercise during the day, some form of exercise. Medications. If you do take medications, make sure that they're not a stimulant. Okay? If the doctor's having you take medication before you go to sleep, just make sure it's not a stimulant because that's going to obviously keep you up. Try to stay away from caffeine and nicotine before bed, as both of them are also stimulants. Try reading a book before bed and staying away from TV and computer screens. There's a flicker effect on the TV or a computer screen that actually keeps your brain awake for hours that you might not realize that is actually there. Try to stop doing everything like 30 minutes before going to bed. Try reading a book and just relaxing. I know for me, if I read a book, I'm out, just like that. Also, if you're one of those people that you have stuff going on in your head all the time, and you lay down and you're like, oh gosh, I got to remember to do this, 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 and this tomorrow, keep a notepad by your bed so you can just jot it down and you put it out of your mind. That way you're not worried about trying to remember it the next day, and you can get to it, and it will give your mind some time to relax. Nutrition. This prepares the body to cope with stress. Stress can deplete certain nutrients from the body. And interestingly enough, when we are stressed, our body craves different substances that it thinks it's going to help bolster its ability to cope with the stress. When in actuality, what's happening is that it's actually reducing its ability to alleviate the stress. So nicotine, caffeine, alcohol, sugar, and white flour, and salt. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're not a drinker or a smoker and you get stressed, you're probably not going to crave those things. But when you get completely stressed out, do you crave maybe potato chips or chocolate or ice cream? Simmons?
Isn't that because it releases serotonin, yeah, and it makes you...
It's the feed. Serotonin is your feel-good.
Yeah, and
right.
So that's why your body...
Yes. Okay. Exercise actually reduces stress by keeping our hormones regulated, and it helps those brain endorphins. We talked about that a little bit. Those brain endorphins make you feel really good. Remember we talked about, you don't want to get up and exercise, but you always feel better afterwards. You feel awake and alive and everything's better. Aerobic exercise is actually better as opposed to anaerobic exercise when you're under a stressful situation. It's always good to go work out, but there is a possibility that you could be so stressed that a workout's just going to cause more stress, because actually working out is a stress to the body. It's a good stress under most circumstances, but if your body is already so tired and worn out from everything else that you're dealing with and you go try to work out, you can actually tank. So you really got to be a good judge of that.
Judge that is to know what your average resting heart rate is in the morning. If you wake up and it's 10, 12 beats higher, pretty much I'll skip the gym that day for other stressors.
Yes. Okay, and relaxation. Relaxation is reached in a combination of 3 techniques: meditation, breathing, and body relaxation. So when we talk about meditating, we're not sitting there talking about going, Om. That's not what we're talking about. Something that is meditating for you. If it's reading a book or watching your children or your dogs play or whatever, it's good therapy, right? Breathing, we're going to talk about, and then that body relaxation. So we talked about the meditation. Breathing, when you are stressed, if you can the next time you get really stressed, step back from that and focus on your breathing. Because I guarantee you, your breathing is going to be really short and shallow breaths. And when you're not stressed, your heart rate is down, you're taking nice deep breaths, and you're very much relaxed. Okay? Controlling your breathing controls your entire body, whether it be through stress or pain or anything like that. You're going to be able to control it. When you relax your mind, you can relax your lungs, and your lungs relax. You can breathe more slowly. Your heart rate slows. Your respiration slows. And everything can start relaxing. So all of this stuff kind of works in a circle. Has anybody ever done yoga? Who hasn't done yoga ever? Huh. You guys may get the opportunity to do that while you're here. I would just challenge you. I thought the first time I did yoga, I will never be at this much peace when I'm dead. There's no way. But I actually have learned to really like yoga because it is, you just stand there and do specific poses with your body. There's no equipment, and you're like pouring sweat, like absolutely pouring sweat. And you feel great afterwards. It actually is really good for your digestive system. I'm always like starving after I do yoga. I mean, it's awesome. So, and it really works on your flexibility and your balance, and you have to focus on what you're doing. You can't like space off and talk and do all that stuff like you do in the gym. You just can't do it. You really got to focus on what's going on, and it's really a good thing. So I challenge you to at least try it once. Okay? Let's take a very quick break. Cardiovascular or aerobic training. Cardiovascular means with oxygen. Repeatedly moving large muscle groups and increasing that oxygen in the blood. So when we talk about large muscle groups, we're talking about like running. Those slow, sustained runs, like your 1.5-mile run would be cardiovascular. Okay? The benefits of cardiovascular training are listed there on the right-hand side. Control body fat, increase stamina, activate the immune system, reduce health risk, manage chronic conditions, strengthen your heart, improves the cholesterol, and boosts mood. Okay, that's back to those little endorphins that are released when we exercise. So any questions at all about any of this stuff? This stuff is pretty basic. I mean, you guys know this. So your primary aerobic activities would be walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, stair climbing, inline skating, cross-country skiing, or an elliptical. Okay? So aerobic training or interval training. This means in the absence of oxygen. This is usually fueled by the energy in your muscles. And this talks about like short sprints and any type of weightlifting. Okay? Here's the thing. Fitness experts agree that as little as 30 minutes of strength training 2 or 3 times a week is sufficient to experience the benefits that are listed up here. One of the greatest benefits of weightlifting is that you build more muscle, you'll burn more fat, even at rest. Okay, so the more lean muscle mass your body has on you, the more of a fat-burning machine you become. All right? So have you guys all heard the whole thing about muscle weighs more than fat? Is that true? It is not true.
The volume.
Denser, isn't it?
Volume.
So here's the thing.
1 pound is 1 pound.
That's right. So you have, that doesn't work. So this is muscle. That's a 1. And this is fat. One pound is 1 pound, right? This is more porous and takes up more space. This is more dense and takes up less space. Does that make sense? That's why you have somebody that might be very, very lean, but they weigh a lot because they're probably all muscle. Okay? Here's the other thing. Everybody's heard about lactic acid, right? But everybody is misinformed about what lactic acid is usually. Lactic acid is not what you're feeling right now, sitting there. When you get up and you go, oh. Okay, lactic acid is a defense mechanism for your body. So when you're running or that sprint, you felt, I guarantee you everybody in here felt lactic acid in that sprint yesterday. When you were about from me to the door to the finish line. And your legs are freaking burning, right? Did anybody not feel that? Okay? That is lactic acid. It's a defense mechanism in your body. When you're doing a curl and you can't get that last one up because your muscle is, that's that lactic acid buildup in your muscle. Okay, it's to keep you from injuring yourself. All right? So we're clear on lactic acid, right? Okay.
Is it basically shutting down the muscle?
Yes. Yes. Okay, so anaerobic training. This is, if you want to improve in everything that you do, like even your distance running, this is what you need to be doing. If you guys want to get extra workouts in, go down in the cardio room where all of the equipment's at, the treadmills, and there's a window in there, and right next to that window there's a whiteboard, and there is papers typed out that say HIIT workouts that are written on there. And that entails like some sort of weightlifting and then running a lap around the inside of the gym. And then some more weight stuff and running a lap. And maybe some burpees and running a lap. So anaerobic training or interval training, or we call them HIIT workouts, which HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. Okay, you're going to hear them called all different types of things, but it incorporates cardio and weights. Okay, so you might do 25 push-ups, run a lap. 25 sit-ups, run a lap. 25 squats, run a lap. Okay, it gets your heart rate really up there and gets that VO2 max going, so you're building your lungs and your muscles and everything. It's fabulous. This is, you guys heard me mention CrossFit. Does anyone do CrossFit? Couple people. Yay. CrossFit is brutal. These guys could tell you. It is absolutely brutal.
Sandy workout?
No. It's way worse. So CrossFit workout. So what did we have to do yesterday? So yesterday's workout was 20 pull-ups, 20 front squats. So you got a barbell loaded. I had 75 pounds on mine, all the way down and up. And then 20 box jumps 3 times through. It's the first time ever in my life that I thought I was going to throw up. Ever. Okay? It's rough, I'm telling you. Okay? And you never do the same workout twice. So it's kind of the same type of like the HIIT workout and all that kind of stuff. If you want to try one of those HIIT workouts, I challenge you, because they're hard, but it's good stuff. Okay, if you like to exercise, you will be hooked. I'm telling you. Really good for improving on your PT stuff. That's what anaerobic conditioning does for you. Okay, this is really cool stuff because it not only does it increase your performance, all of the great strength benefits and your tendons and your connective tissue and all of that stuff. It also speeds up your metabolism. You can get done with one of these workouts and you're still burning calories like 2 hours later. I mean, it's fabulous. The interesting thing here is it says it recaptures youth. And I didn't know this until I started looking into it. But after you hit the age of 40, your body can lose an upward of 6 pounds of muscle every 10 years. You turn back the clock by acquiring and maintaining the same muscle mass you had in your early 20s. Anaerobic exercises will help you build back this muscle and increase your energy level and overall health in the process. So it's pretty cool stuff. The paper that I gave you is about a Tabata. Has anybody ever heard of a Tabata? Okay, one person. Tabatas are really cool. So you guys can do this on your own. So this would be a short one with all just body weight. I mean, you can use whatever exercises you want. So that's just a quick example. So what you do is you start with push-ups, right? And you're going to do, they have an app for your phone that you can get. It's called a Tabata timer, okay? And what it is, it's 4 minutes of exercise, but it's not all at once. You do 20 seconds of work. So you're doing push-ups for 20 seconds. You rest for 10 seconds. Then you do 20 seconds more push-ups. You rest for 10. 20 seconds more push-ups, rest for 10. Until it's 8 rounds total is the full 4 minutes. When you're done with the push-ups, you move on to the sit-ups. Same thing, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. When you're done with your 8 rounds of that, you move on to the air squat and then to the jump rope. Good stuff. You can put anything on there that you want. I usually do 6 different exercises. I actually wrote a workout where it's all isometric holds. So an isometric hold is like a wall sit or holding in a down push-up position. A plank. Yeah, there's several different ones that we did. That's the worst one ever. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It's harder than doing the work, just holding that. So just a little something else for you guys to work with while you're here. Okay, if you need something, you want me to write you something up, I've got a ton of them in there. We can get you something. Okay?
So it wouldn't work the same as if you went from push-ups to sit-ups to air squat and back through that way to switch it up?
It works better instead of doing like a round, because you're focusing on one muscle group and then you're done. And that's where you get that intensity. And that's what this study that I passed out is talking about. For each exercise. Yes. So you pull 6 exercises, you have 24 minutes of a workout that you will be thinking about halfway through you're not going to be able to complete it. I guarantee you. Okay, it's good stuff. So any questions about anaerobic training or interval training? All right. Anaerobic is sprints, intervals, jump roping, any rapid burst of intense exercise. Push-ups, pull-ups, anything like that. Okay? Strength is defined as an ability of a muscle or a group of muscles to generate force. And strength training actually helps us perform a task with less stress. So if we're doing a bicep curl and we can only do, say we're using a 10-pound dumbbell and we can only do 10 reps. As we start working on our biceps and creating a strength program for our biceps, in a few weeks' time, we should be able to do either more reps with that same 10-pound dumbbell, because we've placed stress on the bicep and now it's gotten stronger, right? So we can do more reps, or we can still do 10 reps, but maybe using a 12-pound dumbbell. So you can increase your weight or your reps. Make sense? Strength training allows us to lift and carry, drag, pull, push, climb, use of force, and any type of sustained pursuit. It increases our bone mass, the strength of that connective tissue. It obviously reduces our body fat. We talked about the more lean muscle that we have, the more of a fat-burning machine we are. Improves our our psychological status, our confidence. We feel better about ourselves, right? We feel stronger, we feel leaner, and we portray that image. Strength training reduces stress, helps with the reduction of body fat. It's just good for us, right? The only thing that it can be bad is if you're trying to lift too much weight and you're not strong enough to do it. You can hurt yourself. So you got to make sure, and proper form is everything. Everything. Okay, so any questions about strength training? Yes, ma'am.
You hear a lot of things about between females and males. What would you prefer? You do more reps with less weight or?
Heavy as you can go.
Okay.
You're not going to bulk. Unless you're taking testosterone, a female is not going to bulk. Lift as heavy as you can for as long as you can. If you're planning on doing like 10 reps, lift as heavy as you can go. And if you can't get through the 10 reps, then you can try to, instead of sacrificing form, then dump 5 or 10 pounds off. But yeah, as heavy as you can go. Yes, ma'am.
How many sets would you do?
It depends on what you're trying to do. Okay? You're like, I don't know, gain weight. For you, I'd probably start with like 3 sets of 10 would work fine. Or 8. You probably go a little bit heavier, 3 sets of 8.
How many sets do you do of weight training?
I don't do sets. CrossFit's completely different. There's not a mere one in that gym over there, and everything is based off of your form. And like we did 20 reps of front squats. And I can front squat, my max on a front squat is like 115, but I was one time. So I took it down, 40 pounds, and because I did 60 reps at 75 pounds. And that was a struggle for me, which is why my backside hurts really bad today. So it just depends on what you're looking to do. Okay, strength programs. So the first one, join a gym. Somebody give me a pro to joining a gym.
You have other people that have the same goals.
Okay, other people that have the same goals. Good. What else? Atmosphere, all right.
Good equipment.
What's that?
Good equipment.
Good equipment. Okay. You have to pay to maintain. That would be probably a con, but. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, most are open 24 hours a day. Any more? You can make it like an appointment. You have others working out around you, which can be motivating. So what about cons? Money, what'd you say? Lines. Like waiting for equipment?
Letting your body pull down too much.
Okay. The money? The mirrors?
When you join a gym while you're doing running equipment, you don't got a program. You got to figure out something for yourself.
Good point.
It can be intimidating.
It can absolutely be intimidating. Embarrassing? Distracting?
Yes, it's distracting.
Yes? Okay, good. You guys pretty much covered everything on my list there. All right, so what about if you order a program like from one of the infomercials, like Insanity or P90X? What are some pros to that? You can do it at home. What was that? They're excellent programs.
Do it at your own speed.
Do it at your own speed. Good. The thing that I liked about it, I've done P90X like 4 times. And the thing that I really like about it is I hate lifting weights. And I didn't know why, but it was because I'm the one that always had to come up with something to do. Like, okay, what am I going to do today? Okay, chest and back. Okay. Today I'm going to do leg. It sucked. It was horrible. P90X, they tell you exactly what you're working on, what body part, and what exercises you're doing, and how many reps you're supposed to do. And I'm like, perfect, works for me. Just tell me what I need to do. So that's why I really liked it. You don't have to leave your house to work out. You got to understand with going to a gym, you have that travel time that takes away from your workout and takes away the valuable time that none of us have, right? And you can, another pro to an infomercial one would be you can do it anytime you want, which I think we covered. So what about some cons? Money? Okay.
It's cheaper than a gym.
It is cheaper than a gym probably in the long run.
My discs have been sitting for like a year.
Well, clean the damn dust off of them and go do them.
But that's like another con of.
It is, absolutely. Yes? Okay. You may not have room in your house, depending on where you live. You may have to purchase some equipment, and you're not surrounded by others who are working out, which that could be a pro or a con. And it may get old doing the same thing over and over again. I know for me, I wanted to kill Tony Horton. He's an idiot. He's an idiot, but he has lots of money, so he is a beast. Okay, what about making up your own? What are some pros to making up your own? Your own program.
You go at your own pace.
You go at your own pace, okay?
Stay motivated because you're doing what you like.
Okay, stay motivated because you're doing what you like. You can work on whatever you want. Okay, what else?
It's formatted around your body,
Okay,
for what you're comfortable with.
and it's probably not going to cost a whole lot unless you're going to charge yourself. All right, how about a con? You don't know what the hell you're doing, okay? Complacency.
There's no spotter there.
There's no spotter. Right, right. So here's the thing. You might not push yourself hard enough, or you might push yourself too hard and end up facing an injury. Okay. What about hiring a personal trainer? What are some pros?
Friends.
No, pros.
Oh, sorry.
We'll get to that.
One-on-one.
They will motivate you one-on-one.
Accountability.
Say what?
They might know what they're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll get to that in the con here in just a second. They should ask you what your specific needs are and build a program around you for what you're wanting. It's usually personalized, and they usually will incorporate fitness and nutrition. A good one. Okay. Cons. Money. They're very expensive usually. Mr. Bannister said a very good thing, and that is that it is very difficult to find a good one. Because you can get a certificate off the internet to be one, and it's really heart-wrenching when the person that's leaving is on the same program that you're on. Because that's not customizing it, right? There may not be one available in your area, and there may be time or scheduling problems. So when you are available to do it, they may have somebody already in that time slot. So, okay. Bottom line, find something that works for you, change it up, and you will be absolutely amazed at what you can accomplish. Okay? Any questions about that? We got one more small little section to cover on flexibility, and then we'll be finished. So flexibility. Flexibility refers to the range of motion about a joint of the body. So people that are usually really muscular in the shoulders don't have a whole lot of flexibility in the arms. Okay, you may not have shoulder flexibility. For most of us, do you know what the tightest muscle in the body is? Hamstrings. That's a good one. That's why when we tell you to bend over and touch the floor, that like half of you are like this. Okay, I'm good. This really hurts right now because my backside is... But you should be able to put your hands on the floor. Okay? I mean, you really got to work at it. Flexibility is free, people. When you're sitting there watching TV, get on the floor and stretch. Okay? Get on the floor and stretch right now. That's right. Okay? There's different types of stretching. There's ballistic stretching, which is a fast, jerky movement. Now, this is not the best thing to increase your range of motion. So a ballistic stretch would be like the swimmer going in the pool, or the boxer jumping around, okay? Whereas your static stretches are very slow and sustained. This is what you should be doing in morning PT, and they'll usually lead you through a series of stretches, okay? And that's like the one that I just did, or pulling your arms across. You hold it for like 10 to 30 seconds. The longer you hold it, the more flexible you're going to become, okay? This is best for improving flexibility. Flexibility is going to improve your range of motion. It does reduce the risk of injury, lets you transition from stationary to a more vigorous activity. So you're sitting there hanging out watching your inmates and somebody gets in a fight and you got to get up and respond. And what happens? You step and, oh, God, my hamstring, right? Right? Yeah. So it helps reduce muscular tension. There's all kinds of really cool tools out there that we're using now to start to help with some of this flexibility. Have you guys ever used a foam roller? Okay, if you have not, I suggest that you try one or go buy one. They're about $30. They're about this big around. They're a hard foam. You can also use a PVC pipe if you really like it rough, I guess, or cheap. You put it on the floor and you just roll. You roll out the IT band that's in your leg. You can roll everything on your body. They're fabulous. They have one called the Rumble Roller that's got little knobbies on it that's like some sort of torture device. Just a tennis ball. Like I carry a lot of stress in my back. So even just laying on the floor with a baseball or a tennis ball, and you put it right there and just lay back and put your arm up and move your arm around and kind of roll. And, a rolling pin, those things are to die for. Just on your calves or your quads. I know it sounds weird, and you go buy a rolling pin, and they're like, oh, what kind of bread are you baking? You're like, I'm using it for my leg, man. And they're like, they look at you really weird.
I was told that when you get on one of those rollers that you have to roll the blood towards your heart. Does that sound weird? Okay.
That sounds weird.
Well, it sounded weird to me, but I thought, okay.
I seriously my husband and I got a roller. We got the P90X2 program, and it came like with the roller. And so we fought over that. We would fight over it. And so we finally got it. It was like an hourglass because we used it so much. And so we had to throw it away, and I bought another one. And that one's a little bit harder, and it's not as long. They make them in like 30 inches and 36 inches. And the longer ones are better, but they're a little bit more expensive. And you can actually lay on it. You put your butt on it, you lay on the floor, and stretch your back out. I mean, they are awesome. So if you get the opportunity to use one of those, good on you. You better watch out. Everybody's going to be. But I'm telling you, it's like a massage, and you don't get on it and like roll back and forth like this. you go like really slow, and when you find that spot that's just like really, like, oh my gosh, makes you want to cry, you just hold it right there. And then you go back and forth. And I'm serious, it makes your legs and everything feel so much better. And I mean, you get done and you want, seriously, I've been down there rolling on my living room floor just sweating because it hurts so bad. But it's great afterwards.
How would that work on something like tendonitis in your Achilles?
It's going to help it, but because that tendonitis, your tendons usually all just balled up in there. So just be careful with it and make sure you don't injure. But it gets the blood flowing to the muscle, and that's why our muscles are sore. That's why when we stand up and we start moving around, that you always feel better, because you're getting that blood flow back to your muscles, and that blood flow is what's helping heal that soreness. So
Actually, with that tendonitis, you just roll your whole leg, and it helps a lot, yeah. So just rolling all the knots out of the leg.
yeah. So I'm telling you, all that stuff is like fabulous. Or have you guys ever used a golf ball on your foot? Oh my gosh. That is like, take your shoe off and just put a golf ball on the floor. You can sit down and do it and just, oh my gosh. It's fabulous. I'm telling you. All right, so any questions on flexibility? Okay, so our whole goal with this class is that we want to help you create a healthy lifestyle. So eat a balanced, low-fat diet made up of real food. We all know what real food is now, right? Okay. Manage your stress. We gave you some tips on how to do that. Maintain a healthy body weight. We gave you many tips on how to do that. Stay active. You don't have to worry about that while you're here. And make sure you're stretching. Okay? And avoid hazardous behaviors. Now, what would be a hazardous behavior? Smoking and drinking. Now, here's the deal. You know, if you're a smoker, then fine. That's fine. We're not here to judge. Obviously, don't be smoking the green leafy. Okay, that's bad. That would be bad. That would be a hazardous behavior. Here's another thing. If you get so stressed out with your job that when you come home, all you do is drink, and on your off days, that's all you do is drink, you need to look at what is happening. There's more to life than drinking and working as a deputy sheriff. Okay? Find a hobby, whatever it may be. Find friends. They can be people you work with. They always tell you to find friends like outside of law enforcement. I don't know anybody outside of law enforcement. I can't stand being around somebody that is outside of law enforcement. So just keep yourselves in check. You guys all have long careers ahead of you, and just keep yourselves in check, okay? And if you don't be, just because if someone comes to you and says, hey man, you know, you're messing up lately, don't get all mad at them. You know, obviously consider the source of where it came from, but think about it. And think if there's something that you can do to be a better person. Okay? Hollins?
See, along those lines, I know a guy that, like, all he talks about is CrossFit. But then on his days off, he sits there and drinks beer all day. And it's like, you know, aren't you defeating the purpose when you know? And it's along the same lines, you know, he needs, I understand he goes doing CrossFit, but what's the beer for?
Kind of, I think what I would probably categorize as a hypocrite, maybe? You know, find something that you enjoy doing, and you know, make it something that you can relax at and not something that becomes a job. Because you have to relax in this profession because it can get a little taxing at times. It's a great profession. This is good stuff, man. I couldn't believe I was getting a paycheck when I first started working. I'm like, they're going to pay me for this? This is awesome. Okay, but you gotta let go sometimes. Okay, so don't sacrifice your family and your ethics and what you believe in, but find something to do that's fun. Okay, good? Anybody got anything? A headache, maybe? All right, you're about 5 minutes early. I tried to get you out early, but we had great discussions. This is probably some of the best discussions I've had while teaching this class, and I commend you for that. That's awesome.